Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Desert Lord. Random super divine level talent at the start. Chapter 71. Compared with the prosperity and development of Golden Oasis, the Rat Kingdom has been having a hard time these days. As the Rat King, Aubrey couldn't sleep all night. In the Battle of Sauron, the Skaven Kingdom lost tens of thousands of its elite Skaven warriors. Although more than double the number of Rat warriors successfully escaped back to the kingdom, various sequelae occurred due to the erosion of the power of the undead. Mild physical weakness, or he may die overnight. Moreover, he turned into an undead creature after death, causing panic within the Ratman kingdom. If it were just for these reasons, Rat King Aubrey wouldn't be unable to sleep. The fundamental reason why he couldn't sleep well was that the undead army was building a stronghold in the Sand Forest area. It is no longer a simple food crisis issue. It is a question of the survival of the kingdom. The Stone Mountain Mountains where the Ratman Kingdom is located next to the Sand Forest area. To Rat King Aubrey, the undead army is like a lich sword suspended above its head, which may fall down and chop off its head at any time. How can it sleep peacefully? For now, we can only ask Master Charles for asylum. Only the powerful Master Charles can help our Rat Kingdom survive the crisis. Thinking of this, Rat King Aubrey became even less sleepy. He immediately got up from the bed. He hurriedly left the palace amidst the puzzled expressions of several rat princesses. It is worth mentioning that, in the Rat Kingdom where fat is considered beautiful, the princess of Mouse King Aubrey is also a big black mouse that is 3 to 4 meters tall and extremely fat. The rat princesses wearing long brocade dresses, paired with black fur and rat-like appearance, will give people a transcendent level fantasy, even horror feeling. It's no wonder that when Rat King Aubrey offered to give the black-robed figure some rat beauties as a gift, the black-robed figure sternly rejected him immediately. Normal people simply can't stand this kind of scene. Your Majesty, what's going on? It must be because of the recent troubles the kingdom has encountered that I couldn't sleep. I don't know when this undead storm will be over. I still want to go outside and take a sand bath. It should be over soon, right? The undead disasters that occurred in previous years only lasted for a month at most. Hopefully it will be the same this time. Sister 17, where are you going? Oh, I can't sleep either. Let's go for a walk. Quote. Comma. The other side. Rat King Aubrey came to the Forbidden Cave alone. The black-robed messenger did not show up. The transcendent great demon mage was also seriously injured in the battle with Sauron. After entering the cave, Rat King Aubrey immediately saw the dark dragon Charles crawling on the altar, with a large amount of animal meat and other food piled around it. The dragon clan is born with big stomachs. In order to support the dark dragon Charles, the Skaven kingdom paid a heavy price. The whole country is living in a pinch. In just 2 years, countless little mice have starved to death. Just when Rat King Aubrey was tremblingly preparing to kneel down to the dark dragon Charles, out of the corner of his eye, he suddenly saw many bones piled up in a corner of the cave. You know, the digestive function of the giant dragon is very terrifying. You never spit out the bones when you eat meat. The appearance of these white bones is very abrupt. There is a faint smell of death. These bones belong to undead creatures. Rat King Aubrey's face darkened. Are those undead creatures so arrogant that they even dare to invade the dragon's dormant place? Just at this time, the dark dragon Charles, who was crawling on the altar, slowly raised his head and stared at the trembling Rat King Aubrey with a pair of simple golden vertical pupils. Its eyes were filled with indifference, and the contempt that superiors have for weak creatures. Humble slave Aubrey, what are you doing here? My great master, His Majesty Charles. Rat King Aubrey could not withstand the might of the dragon Charles. His legs weakened and he knelt down. He said in a trembling voice, "The evil undead creatures dare to invade even your territory. This is a sign of disrespect to dragon race's majestic blasphemy. As your loyal servant, I should use all my strength to drive out those undead creatures, but I am weak. I implore the great Master Charles to take action himself. Use the power of the dragon's breath to scare those humble undead souls." I see, Dragon Charles responded with an indifferent voice. It's obviously perfunctory. It only cares about whether its own injuries can be recovered as soon as possible, but does not care about the life and death of the Ratman Kingdom. Rat King Aubrey put his head close to the ground and pleaded again. The evil undead have established a stronghold of power in the sand forest area, and the rich undead magic has formed a canopy to cover everything. Perhaps it won't be long before our Rat-Man kingdom will be invaded by the undead army. By then, they will definitely disturb the owner's sleep. Upon hearing this, the dragon Charles narrowed his golden vertical pupils slightly. After a moment it stood up. It flaps its exaggeratedly large dragon wings. As a hurricane swept by, Rat King Aubrey's body was immediately rolled up, and he hit the stone wall of the cave and fell down. Master, calm down. Rat King Aubrey ignored the pain in his body. Terrified, he knelt down again. It knows that this is the punishment of the Dragon Charles. However, as long as the Dragon Charles can take action personally, it can completely accept this punishment. The Dragon Charles said in a low voice, "Go back and mobilize your legion, and follow me to fight Sauron tomorrow." "By your will, Great Master Charles." Rat King Aubrey was so happy that he left the cave as if he was running away. Here, the giant dragon Charles was quite angry. This humble big black mouse actually dared to threaten it. After it recovered, it would definitely destroy the entire rat kingdom. "Rats, undead creatures, why do you have to disturb me at this time?" The dragon Charles let out a low roar, and sprayed out a hot dragon's breath from his ferocious mouth, burning a pile of undead bones piled in the corner to ashes. Time quickly came to the next day. This is the first time in 2 years that the Dragon Charles has left the dark underground world. It flapped its huge dragon wings and rushed into the sky. Although the green arrow was still stuck in its chest, and every time it flapped its wings, it felt a burst of physical pain, it was still intoxicated with the joy of soaring in the blue sky. The army of the Ratman Kingdom also gathered. As the Dragon Charles swooped down from the sky, the fiery dragon's breath swept across all directions. A new round of war broke out again in the Sauron area. Lin Yi always sleeps well. Especially after the yin and yang of the little maid Sally were harmonious and the water and milk were in harmony, I slept even more soundly. But early this morning, he was woken up by a rhythmic sound. "What's going on outside, Master?" While the maid Sally was serving Lin Yi to dress and wash, she explained, "There are many sand people gathered outside. They regard the ancient war mother tree you built last night as a sacred tree, and they are kneeling under the tree to pray." Trees have always had a sacred status in the hearts of the sand people. Not to mention a towering ancient tree hundreds of meters high like the ancient war mother tree. They had never seen such a big tree in their lives. It is normal to be regarded as a sacred tree. Lin Yi said, "Having faith is a good thing, but don't delay your daily work." "I understand, Master." Maid Sally nodded and said, "I'll tell them later and let them get back to work quickly." Lin Yi asked, "How does it feel to go out hunting?" The little maid laughed and said, "The night uncles take good care of me, and I am now very powerful and can kill intermediate undead creatures. Yesterday I even killed a ghoul with my own hands." "Awesome," Lin Yi smiled and praised. After breakfast, we came outside the town hall. The sand people had already dispersed. However, whenever they look at the ancient war mother tree, the faces of the sand people will still show a very pious expression. They really believe in this big tree as a sacred tree. Lin Yi sets his sights on Sapphire Lake. You can see small boats cruising on the wide lake. It was a small boat built by the sand people. They were using woven fishing nets to catch native fish in the lake. The task Lin Yi gave them was to catch all the native fish in the lake as much as possible, leaving only the silvertail as spirit fish. There are thousands of sand people rowing boats in the lake to fish. There are people casting nets by the lake. There are both men and women, and there are even children helping. The scene was indeed quite lively. Early in the morning, the territory's royal griffin knights went out hunting again. As the Lord, Lin Yi rarely sees them. These knights get off work late and go to work early. Do the hardest work, doing the most dangerous things. As a recruited force, the royal knights can be said to have carried out their execution to the extreme. In addition, after a wave of recruitment last night, the total size of the Royal Griffin Knights Legion has successfully exceeded 20,000, with a total of more than 21,000 Royal Griffin Knights. The growth rate is terrifying. Here in Forest City. The old butler Huodin also went to the trading guild early in the morning. After a series of appointments, receptions, reviews, etc., all the nearly 9 million gold coins in the crystal card were finally taken out. Work efficiency is getting lower and lower. It took nearly an hour to get a gold coin, which made the old butler Huodin very dissatisfied. He planned to change to a guild to withdraw money next time, such as the Magic Guild, the Bounty Hunter Guild, etc. Arrive at the gate of Trading Guild. The old butler Huodin was preparing to leave with a group of royal holy knights. But at this moment, a middle-aged man and several servants stopped in front of the group of people. Those servants are very interesting. All of them are orcs from the orc tribe. All of them are strong and tall, with a height of more than 3 meters. In the human world, they are complete giants. They were wearing heavy armor, their exposed skin was covered with long black hair, and their animal faces looked very similar to bears. The orcs are a combination of many different races. Judging by their faces and body shapes, it can be inferred that these orcs are from the bear tribe among the orcs. The bear people are famous for their size and strength. Just standing there is a sense of oppression as if facing a heavy tank. When many human nobles hire orc bodyguards or purchase orc slaves, they often choose powerful orcs such as bearmen, tiger men, elephant men, etc. In addition, the charming fox people, petite and cute rabbit people, aloof and gorgeous swan people, etc. are also very popular among human nobles. Back off. A royal holy knight spoke coldly. Almost at the same time, the other royal holy knights took out the offhand knight swords from their waists and stared at the middle-aged man blocking the road with murderous expressions. Forest City, it is prohibited to gather in groups to cause trouble. Murder is a severe punishment. But the Royal Holy Inquisition Knights loyal to Linyi didn't care about this. Their mission is to protect the old butler Huodin, but whenever someone with hostility approaches, they don't mind using unconventional means to solve it. Don't get me wrong. The middle-aged man was shocked. The bear bodyguards behind him also took several steps back. A group of fierce knights at the transcendent level, they feel that they can't stand it. The middle-aged man quickly explained, I have no ill intentions, I just want to discuss a business deal with you. The old butler Huodin said, we are not businessmen and have no business to discuss. The middle-aged man said, Mr. Magician, I know that you are the force that provides elf spring water to the Crystal Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce behind me is far more powerful than the Crystal Chamber of Commerce. As long as you are willing to cooperate with us, hand over the elf spring water to our Chamber of Commerce to sell it on your behalf. We don't charge any commission. They don't want any reward, they just need to use elf spring water to expand the reputation of the Chamber of Commerce. The old butler Huodin asked, what kind of Chamber of Commerce are you? The middle-aged man smiled and said, Flamingo Large Chamber of Commerce, we have dozens of trade routes, and have chambers of commerce in all major kingdoms, including the southern 7 seas. In addition, we are also a partner of the Royal Chamber of Commerce of Stanlow Kingdom. As long as you nod, we can even sell your goods directly to the capital of Stanlow Kingdom. The price of elf spring water there is even higher. This is not something that a small crystal chamber of commerce can do. Kingdom of Stanlow. The old butler Huodin's expression darkened slightly. The old king must have never imagined that the direct bloodline of the Tulip family had already established a firm foothold in the Kalar Desert. The old butler thought for a while and said, we will discuss cooperation when I come to Forest City next time. If there is really a chance to cooperate, your Chamber of Commerce needs to prepare a deposit. The middle-aged man asked, I wonder how much deposit is required. At least 50 million gold coins. After saying that, the old butler left with a group of royal holy knights. The confused middle-aged man was left standing there, and it took a long time for him to come to his senses. 50 million gold coins. It's really a lion's mouth. It even made the middle-aged man suspect that he was being tricked. The middle-aged man said to the heir next to him, you take a team of people to the Golden Oasis. I want to know how strong these guys are, and their tone is so loud. Okay. A low response floated in the air. The middle-aged man looked at the old butler Huodin and others who were leaving with a gloomy expression. Their Chamber of Commerce had already obtained information about the Golden Oasis from a swordsman from the Crystal Chamber of Commerce. Sophia from the Crystal Chamber of Commerce only became successful after leaving the Golden Oasis. Explain that the fairy spring water comes from there. Since he is not good at writing, he can only learn martial arts. The middle-aged man didn't know that the old butler Huodin had no intention of playing tricks on him. The more than 20,000 bottles of middle-level fairy spring water he brought this time are worth more than 50 million gold coins. Master Butler, we are being targeted. People from the Flamingo Chamber of Commerce. More than. The old butler Huodin looked back. They saw a large number of teams following them on the road behind them. There are also human figures in the woods on both sides. Logically speaking, this is the trade route leading to Forest City, and it is normal for pedestrians to come and go. What's unusual is that all these people's eyes are on them. As soon as they stopped, these people stopped too. Quote. The old butler Huodin was silent for a moment. Then he said, "Our information has been completely leaked." A royal holy knight said, "As expected by the Lord, although the president of the Crystal Merchant Guild was able to keep the secret, the group of swordsmen who followed us into our territory failed to keep it secret." How could a group of ordinary swordsmen who had not even entered the king level be able to block the sugar-coated bullets of the major forces? If inducement fails, then use coercion. There are always people who can't control their mouths. Ignore it. The old butler Huodin said, "It is important to rush back to the territory immediately." "Okay, Mr. Butler." As they spoke, a group of royal holy knights summoned their golden griffins. A group of people soared into the sky riding golden griffins. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared into the distant sky. God of War, it's the golden griffin, and there are 10 transcendent level golden griffins. Is the foundation of Golden Oasis so powerful? I remember that it was just a small oasis with very few resources. How could a big force use it as a base to develop? Maybe the Golden Oasis now is different from before. No matter how different it is, it can't change the fact that it's just a small oasis. Anyway, this force dares to ignore the peace contract and occupy the Golden Oasis, and it can also produce a large amount of elf spring water, as well as an entire team of transcendent level Golden Griffin Knights. It must be very powerful. Just go and see it and you will know. The president of my family has said that no matter what method is used, we must get a batch of fairy spring water from the Golden Oasis. What a small crystal chamber of commerce can do, there is no reason why medium and large chambers of commerce like us can't handle it. That makes sense. Hurry up and go to the Golden Oasis. If you go late, you may be overtaken by others. I heard that there are undead in the Karar Desert. Afraid of a hammer, we are businessmen, and we seek wealth through danger. Besides, a large number of bounty hunters have already poured into the Karar Desert. It will not be difficult to use their power to open a trade route to the Golden Oasis. Everyone present thought there was nothing wrong with it. Soon, these teams were chasing in the direction where the Royal Griffin Knights disappeared. Some of them travel lightly. Some carry a variety of cargo. But the purpose is the same, that is to make money in the Golden Oasis. A businessman who cannot seize business opportunities has no future. Among the crowd, there was another figure that blinded others. Although he was just walking slowly, he would leave an afterimage that gradually disappeared every tens of meters away. In just the blink of an eye, the figure disappeared at the end of the road. The nature elves are also eyeing the Golden Oasis. Golden Oasis, Town Hall. Lin Yi is listening to a report from a royal holy knight. Lord, the Ratman Kingdom can no longer hold on. They invited the Dark Dragon Charles. The blazing dragon's breath has enveloped a large area of the Sand Forest area. It is conservatively estimated that at least hundreds of thousands of undead creatures were slaughtered by this giant dragon. You actually came out. Lin Yi was a little surprised. He originally thought that the Dragon Charles would not care about the life and death of the Skaven Kingdom. I will always hide in the dark underground world to heal. Because of this, he also deliberately subdued the rat messenger and asked him to inquire about the intelligence information of the Dragon Charles. However, he did not expect that the dragon saw it first before the information was sent. Lin Yi asked, "Have you found out the specific level of the Dragon Charles?" The Royal Holy Inquisition Knight shook his head and said, "We don't dare to get too close, for fear of being noticed by the Dragon Charles. We can only roughly estimate that its level should be above the intermediate saint level. In addition, we found that there seems to be an arrow stuck in the chest of the Dragon Charles. That guy was indeed seriously injured." Lin Yi said, "Continue to explore again, be careful not to expose your traces." "As you command, Lord." The Royal Holy Knights respectfully retired. Lin Yi sat on the big chair, watching the royal holy knight's leaving figure. He suddenly had the urge to stop him, and then directly ordered the Ace team to kill the dragon Charles. An injured saint-rank dragon. It was like a big fat cooked chicken tempting him. Even if Ace team kills half of the Royal Holy Inquisition Knights, as long as they can kill the dragon Charles, it will be worth it. Hiss. Just wait a little longer. When the old butler brings the dragon corpse back, let me breed the dragon race unit. Then there will be one giant dragon, plus 100 transcendent level Royal Holy Order Griffin Knights, to surround and kill the dragon Charles more secure. When the time comes to noon. The old butler Huodin finally led the knight team back to the Golden Oasis, and handed the gold coins he brought back in the space ring containing the dragon's body to Lin Yi. The old housekeeper first told what happened in Forest City. Then he said, "Master, our information has been exposed, and many forces know the existence of our territory. Maybe it won't take long before the team they send will arrive at the Golden Oasis." Lin Yi probed his spiritual consciousness into the space ring. Check out the dragon carcass inside. While saying, come on, those who are serious about doing business can try to cooperate, and those with malicious intentions will be killed directly. Hearing this, the old housekeeper Huodin also nodded. With the current strength of the territory, they no longer need to be sneaky. Come on, my dear old butler. Lin Yi grinned and said, I'll take you to see what apex-level troops are like. As soon as he finished speaking, he walked out of the town hall. The old butler Huodin also followed with excitement. When he returned to the Golden Oasis, he saw the towering ancient tree that was at least 300 meters high, exuding extremely surging life and natural magic. Soon, the two came under the ancient War Mother tree. After consuming a total of 300,000 Lord Gold coins, Lin Yi directly upgraded the ancient War Mother tree to level 9. Ancient War Mother tree. Level 9. Recruitable troops. Ancient Treemen. Recruitment quantity. 1,000 ancient tree people can be recruited every day. Next level. Ultimate building. Upgrade requirements. Ultimate arms building drawings. Special reminder 1. Upgrade the level of the military building to recruit more military units. Closing square bracket. Special reminder 2. Upgrade the military building to the ultimate level, and the number of military units that can be recruited every day will increase tenfold. Closing square bracket. Recruit ancient tree people, Lin Yi whispered. The ancient War Mother tree suddenly bloomed with a bright green light. After a while, huge balls of light flew out from the body of the mother tree. As the light ball shattered, huge ancient tree men appeared one after another in front of Lin Yi and the old housekeeper. Each ancient tree man is more than 30 meters tall. It is even more exaggerated than the golden griffin that has reached the transcendent level. At the same time, another piece of information appeared in Lin Yi's mind. Congratulations to the Lord, you triggered the Lord's talent, the awakening of the ancient bloodline, during the process of recruiting troops. A total of 147 ancient tree people evolved and became the Eternal Tree Guard. Closing square bracket. Just in terms of body shape, the evolved Eternal Tree Guards actually have little to do with the ancient tree warriors. They are all about 30 meters tall. The difference lies in their equipment. The ancient tree man's main trunk is covered with a layer of bronze-colored heavy armor, while the heavy armor guarded by the Eternal Tree Man is golden yellow, and the level can be seen at a glance. This is too exaggerated. The old housekeeper Huodin looked at the tree army in front of him and took an uncontrollable breath. As we all know, creatures like tree men are known for their defense. And the tree men summoned by my young master were all wearing heavy armor. They look like big, heavy iron buckets. Let me ask, who can stop this? Drum. Lin Yi grinned. This word is really a very vivid description of these tree people in front of me. The appearance of the tree people is a uniform long tree shape, with a large number of movable tree roots at the bottom. Their trunk is the main trunk, their head at the top, and two branches branching out from the left and right arms. The tree man is about 30 meters tall. The height of the main trunk is just over 20 meters. This section of the torso is completely covered in heavy armor. Doesn't it look like a big iron bucket? The old butler Huodin said in shock. I didn't expect that the young master can even summon tree people. You must know that they are the exclusive guardians of the natural elves. Lin Yi said with a smile. They are not ordinary tree people. Of the tree people I recruited, the weakest ones are also ancient tree people. There are also advanced versions of the ancient tree people, the eternal tree guard. Compared to these two types of tree people, ordinary tree people are at the bottom. This information was obtained after he inquired about the Lord system. The gap between ordinary tree people and ancient tree people is just like the gap between ordinary griffins and golden griffins. They are not on the same level. As for the evolved eternal tree guard, they are even more awesome. It can be regarded as reaching the pinnacle of the tree people clan. The old housekeeper Huodine said, I have heard rumors about the ancient tree people. They are the heritage of the natural elves and will not be used in ordinary wars. Tree ants are not invincible either. Once they encounter a more powerful enemy, the tree people will also die on the battlefield. The nature elves usually only send ordinary tree people into the battlefield and are reluctant to use ancient tree people, perhaps because it is very difficult to cultivate ancient tree people. The death of the ancient tree people will make the nature elves feel distressed. Compare it to my young master's place. Among the 1,000 tree people recruited, the most common ones are ancient tree people. There are also eternal tree guards who are one level higher than the ancient tree people. This gap is not generally large. Old butler Huodine has reason to believe. If any nature elves came to the Golden Oasis and saw that there were so many ancient tree people here, or even more powerful eternal tree people, their eyes would probably turn red with jealousy. It is possible to send an army of natural elves to fight with my young master. If it were him, he would never be able to bear it. The old butler Huodine said with great emotion, the ancient tree people and the eternal tree people are the terrifying intelligent races in the rumors. They are worthy of the young master calling them apex-level troops. In comparison, the Royal Holy Order Griffin Knights in the territory are also much worse. At the same level, there is a high probability that the Ancient Tree Man and the Eternal Tree Man can defeat the Royal Holy Order Griffin Knight. In front of these tree men, the air combat arms did not have much advantage. Because tree men are good at throwing wooden spears. If a spear passes by, the dragon may be pierced. This is definitely not an exaggeration to describe the combat power of the tree people. In the history of the Holy Continent, there are records of giant dragons being shot down from the sky with a spear from a powerful tree man. Here, Lin Yi is checking the information about the ancient treemen and the eternal treeman guards. Ancient treeman warrior. Level. Crowned arms. Initial level. King level intermediate. Growth potential. Peak of saint rank. Characteristics. Slowness, toughness, life recovery, powerful blow. Eternal tree ant guard. Level. Crowned arms. Initial level. Transcendent beginner. Growth potential. Demigod. Characteristics. Slowness, toughness, life recovery, powerful blow, impregnable. Awesome. Lin Yi whispered. Is this a crown level military? Even the ancient tree man's growth potential has reached the peak of saint rank. The evolved eternal tree man guard has the growth potential of the demigod level. It's so outrageous that you opened the door for me. It's so outrageous. Lin Yi originally thought that even the evolved eternal tree guard's growth potential would be at its peak saint rank, while the growth potential of the ancient tree man would be the ordinary saint rank. But I didn't expect that the eternal tree guards would be so awesome. Beyond saint rank, running towards poetry in the distance. Lord System seemed to have heard his lord's incredulity, and took the initiative to reply, the ancient war mother tree is also among the top military units in the championship level, and is comparable to the dragon race unit. Closing square bracket. In other words, I am equivalent to summoning 1,000 dragons. Almost the same, but different arms have their own advantages and disadvantages. Closing square bracket. The disadvantage of the tree man unit is that it moves relatively slowly. Even if you set foot on transcendent or saint rank, it is difficult to achieve a significant breakthrough. This is the characteristic of the tree man unit. Closing square bracket. Upon hearing this, Lin Yi quickly checked the characteristics information of the ancient treeman and the eternal treeman guard. Slowness. Movement speed and attack speed are greatly reduced. Closing square bracket. Tenacity. After entering combat state, defense increases 3 times. Closing square bracket. Life recovery. The recovery speed of injuries is greatly improved, and there is no obvious fatal weakness. Closing square bracket. Strong strike. There is a probability of causing an instant kill effect on enemies of no more than 2 levels. Closing square bracket. These are the 4 characteristics of the ancient tree warriors. The eternal tree ant guard adds one more, invulnerable, to the 4 characteristics. Invulnerable, active characteristic. After the characteristic takes effect, the defense of the unit is increased 5 times, and an energy protective shield is formed to protect nearby friendly units. The size of the protective cover is determined by the level of the soldier. Closing square bracket. Except for one retardation, the other characteristics are all. Lin Yi felt that her cultural level was not high and she could only use the word to describe her mood at the moment. Especially invulnerable. With the blessing of this characteristic, the Eternal Tree Guard is definitely a patron saint and a killer weapon on the battlefield. The energy protective shields were smashed down one by one, and the enemy legions were stunned. Praise you, great Lord. You have given us new life, and we, the Tree People, swear to be loyal to you to the death. Led by more than 100 Eternal Tree Guards, the Tree Army gathered in front of Lin Yi and saluted him respectfully. Due to physical limitations, they were unable to kneel down on one knee like the Royal Knights. They could only lower their heads as much as possible to show their awe and loyalty to Lin Yi. The battlefield of the future belongs to you. Go fight. Lin Yi nodded slightly towards the Tree People. According to your will. As soon as the words fell, the Eternal Tree Guards released their characteristics invulnerable, wrapped up the other ancient trees, and then flew into the sky with huge energy protective shields one after another. The initial level of the Eternal Tree Ant Guard is the Transcendent level. It can fly at high altitudes under its own power. They used the actively released energy protective shield as a means of transportation, taking those ancient tree people who could not fly yet to the distant battlefield. This is much more convenient. Lin Yi looked at the retreating tree army, and the smile on his face became brighter. Recruiting 1,000 ancient tree and eternal tree guards a day, it won't take long for him to gather a large army of tree people under his command. If you can get ultimate arms building drawings, upgrade the ancient war mother tree to the ultimate military structure. That would be even better. The old butler Huodin recovered from the shock. Suddenly he said with some worry, Master, if you let these tree people enter the battlefield, there is no guarantee that news about them will not spread to the forest city and be learned by the natural elves. At that time, the nature elves will definitely send people over to investigate. What the old housekeeper is worried about is that the nature elves will target their territory because of the appearance of these ancient tree people, or even the eternal tree people guards. Once a war breaks out with the nature elves, the ending of Golden Oasis will be difficult to predict. After all, the nature elves are the pinnacle race of the Holy Continent. Compared to the natural elves, human kingdom level forces like the Stanlow Kingdom are nothing at all. There is always a solution to a problem. Lin Yi said with a smile. You can't summon these ancient tree people, but not let them go to the battlefield. Instead, you have to hide them in the territory and not use them, right? So what is the use of these summoned trees? Soldiers should go to the battlefield to kill the enemy. Only on the battlefield can arms grow rapidly. To put it bluntly, as long as the more than 100 eternal tree guards are promoted to the saint rank level, he will not even dare to challenge the natural elves. Even if he can't do it, at worst, he will move his base camp. Anyway, there are military buildings. Go to other places for a wave of obscene development, and then come back and continue. After a pause, Lin Yi continued. In fact, even without these ancient tree people, the natural elves would have targeted us sooner or later. Hearing this, the old butler Huodin also felt that what his young master said made sense. Elf spring water appears in large quantities in the forest city, and it is impossible for the elves to not notice it. It was only a matter of time before those arrogant nature spirits came to the Golden Oasis. Rather than hiding these ancient treemen and eternal treemen guards, it is better to let them enter the battlefield and increase their level as quickly as possible. At that time, it will also increase their territory's confidence when facing the natural elves. Here, Lin Yi communicated with the Lord System and asked, System, in the characteristics of the ancient tree people, life resurgence, what does the lack of obvious fatal weakness mean specifically? Lord System will respond soon. Tree ant soldiers have no specific fatal injuries. Unless the soul is destroyed and the body is burned to ashes, even if the body is blown apart, it can be resurrected through the broken limbs. Closing square bracket. Using elven spring water or water of life can double the recovery speed of the tree soldiers. Closing square bracket. So that's it. Lin Yi suddenly realized. This was a surprise, which meant that the ancient tree people and eternal tree guards under his command were more resistant. Being able to resurrect even a broken body is much more awesome than a giant dragon. A match for the undead. Then Lin Yi came to Dragon's Tomb again. A wave of gold coins passed by, directly raising Dragon's Tomb to the middle level. Grave of the Dragon. Level. Middle level. Building attributes. A magical building that can breed the undead dragon race unit. Closing square bracket. Next level. High level Dragon's Tomb. Upgrade requirements. 500,000 gold coins, 300,000 units of stone. Special reminder. The level of the dragon race arms created is related to the level of the building and the level of the dragon during its lifetime. Upgrading the dragon tomb and burying high-level dragons can breed more powerful dragon race units. Closing square bracket. This consumption is greater than upgrading the 9th level military building. Upgrading the military building to level 9 only requires 300,000 gold coins. On the other hand, upgrading Dragon's Tomb to high level actually requires 500,000 gold coins, plus 300,000 units of stone. It's actually a bit scary. Compared with Dragon Tomb, the Lucky Altar and Elf Fountain next door can be said to be quite cheap. After hesitating for a moment, Lin Yi still took a look at his remaining gold coin reserves. He had previously exchanged nearly 900,000 Lord Gold coins. Including the original reserves, the total number of Lord Gold coins is approximately 920,000. After upgrading Ancient War Mother Tree and middle-level Dragon Tomb, there are still 570,000 gold coins left. In addition, the territory also reserves hundreds of thousands of units of stone. It is completely sufficient to upgrade to high-level Dragon Tomb. It's better to get promoted. After all, the higher the level of the building, the stronger the dragon race troops summoned. Thinking of this, Lin Yi gritted his teeth and threw out 500,000 Lord Gold coins, raising Dragon's Tomb to high level. As the level increases, the bronze gate becomes larger. The height has reached nearly 40 meters. As for the rest, nothing has changed. Later, Lin Yi opened the heavy bronze door in front of the old housekeeper Huodin. Master, is this door also a territorial building? You'll know when you come in. Lin Yi entered the bronze gate first. The old housekeeper Huodin also walked in. The next moment, he found himself in a seemingly endless world of different dimensions. This world had no sun and no breath of life. Some are just neatly arranged tombstones. And all the tombstones are blank. There is no inscription. The scene looked a little breathtaking. The old butler Huodin seemed to understand something and asked, "Is this the dragon's tomb that the young master said, where you can summon the undead dragon?" Good. Lin Yi nodded. He took out the dragon mummy that was more than 100 meters long from the space ring. Then he activated one of the blank tombstones and buried the dragon's body inside. After a while, there is an inscription, or it can also be said that the message in front of this giant dragon is displayed on the tombstone. Buried. Flame Dragon. Name: Augustine Wallace Edwin Rutherford. Level before death. Peak of Saint rank. Lifespan: 3,792 years. Death anniversary: died 10,000 years ago, killed by the titled female swordswoman Amelia. Closing square bracket. Look at the information on the monument. Both Lin Yi and the old butler Huodin fell into silence. Until a long time passed. The old butler Huodin took a breath of air and said, "Master, I'm afraid this matter is a bit serious." Lin Yi's eyelids twitched. He also didn't expect that this was actually a giant dragon mummy from 10,000 years ago. "I'm afraid the seriousness of the matter is not at all. But it's quite serious. I can only pray that the masked man was lucky and accidentally obtained this dragon mummy that has been buried for thousands of years. Otherwise, tut-tut, the whole world is in big trouble." Hearing this, the old housekeeper Huodin couldn't help but shudder. Then he asked cautiously, "Master, do we still want to continue our business? What if that person brings many dragon mummies again?" "Do it, why not do it?" Lin Yi said with a smile. "I don't care what he does with the fairy spring water, even if it's the resurrected lich, I don't care. As long as he dares to sell it, I dare to buy it." As he was speaking, a piece of information appeared in his mind. You buried a dragon corpse. Closing square bracket. You can choose to summon it as a bone dragon or a zombie dragon. Closing square bracket. Isn't there an option for nether dragon? Lin Yi asked. The nether dragon is the target dragon he most wants to summon. According to rumors, the nether dragon is as invisible as the soul and is immune to physical attacks. To summon the nether dragon, you need to bury the dragon corpse with soul or soul mark fragments. Lord System reply. All right, naturally, it is impossible for a giant dragon mummy from 10,000 years ago to still have a soul. Lin Yi asked again, what is the difference between a bone dragon and a zombie dragon? Compared to the zombie dragon, the bone dragon's body is more flexible and can be quickly resurrected even if it is broken. The two are equally powerful, but at the defensive level, the bone dragon is weaker than the zombie dragon. Listen to the narration of the Lord System. Lin Yi thought about it for a long time and finally chose to summon a zombie dragon. After all, there is a layer of skin. Naturally, it cannot be wasted. If the zombie dragon dies on the battlefield in the future, you can try to reuse it after you get the body back. Lin Yi suddenly asked, if you bury a giant dragon corpse, you can only summon one dragon race unit. If it is a fresh dragon corpse, the Lord can summon up to 3 dragon race units at one time, namely Bone Dragon, Carrion Dragon, and Ghost Dragon. Closing square bracket. Skeleton equals Bone Dragon. Flesh equals Carrion Dragon. Soul equals Netherworld Dragon. I have to admit that the Lord System perfectly explains the value of a fresh dragon corpse. Just like the scalpel on the operating table, it cuts neatly. Accompanied by the vibration of the dragon tomb. A huge dragon claw broke through the ground first and came out. Followed by a ferocious dragon head, a huge body, and 2 dragon wings that were so rotten that they were full of holes. Soon, a terrifyingly large monster appeared in front of the 2 of them. Compared with the dragon mummy that had just been buried, it not only exuded a putrid smell, like an evil ghost from hell, but was also significantly larger. The zombie dragon in front of me is at least 150 meters long. Master, it's getting bigger. The old butler Huodin looked at the behemoth in front of him with shock. He could swear to the goddess of magic. He had never seen such a huge and terrifying creature in his life. The golden griffins in the territory were no different from chickens in front of this huge creature. Lin Yi on the side was also a little confused. After walking around in the tomb, you can still grow taller. At this moment, the information prompt from Lord System appeared again. Congratulations, Lord, you triggered the Lord's talent, Awakening of Ancient Bloodline when recruiting troops, and the zombie dragon you recruited successfully evolved into the Zombie Dragon King. Closing square bracket. Is this okay? Lin Yi was stunned. Not to mention that his Lord talent, Awakening of Ancient Bloodline, is also applicable to the non-army building Dragon Tomb. The low evolution probability alone made him never think of summoning the first dragon. The race unit evolved directly. He recruited 1,000 ancient treants, and about 140 of them evolved into the eternal treant guards. The probability of evolution is about 1 in 7. With such a probability, the zombie dragon can actually evolve into the Zombie Dragon King. His luck cannot be said to be bad, it can only be said that he is lucky at the transcendent level. Zombie Dragon King Wallace. Level. Peak of Saint rank. Growth potential. Peak of Demigod. Summon information. A zombie dragon king that has achieved a breakthrough in bloodline and personality, which has greatly made up for the shortcomings of a stiff body, and has stronger strength, higher defense, and more apex-level combat effectiveness. Closing square bracket. There are no military characteristics. But that's not important. The Zombie Dragon King is not a military type in the orthodox sense. It is a summon from Dragon's Tomb. It has all the types of military units it has, and it also has some types of soldiers that do not. Lin Yi was even more excited when he saw the level of the Zombie Dragon King. Birth is the peak of Saint rank. Even his growth potential has reached the peak of demigods. Even more awesome than the advanced version of the Eternal Tree Guard. All this stems from the awakening of the ancient bloodline, allowing it to evolve. Normally, the transformed undead dragon will be at a lower level than it was in life. Low-level Dragon's Tomb, lowered by 3 levels. Middle-level Dragon's Tomb, lowered by 2 levels. High-level Dragon's Tomb, lowered by 1 level. The Zombie Dragon King's level during his lifetime was the pinnacle of Saint rank. When summoned from the Dragon's Tomb of high level, his level should also be Saint level. The reason why it reaches its peak is naturally due to the evolution of bloodline. With this Zombie Dragon King, I am more confident. At this time, the terrifying Zombie Dragon King descended from the sky and slowly landed in front of Lin Yi. Then he crawled down and lowered his head towards Lin Yi. It has lost its flesh and blood and cannot speak. But it can shock the spiritual consciousness and achieve communication with Lin Yi. Praise to you, great master. Your servant Wallace will serve you forever and ever. As Lin Yi's summon, the Zombie Dragon King claims to be his servant and serves Lin Yi as his master. Very good, get up. Lin Yi said. I give you a mission. Go to the sand forest area about 30 kilometers south of the territory. There is an injured dark dragon there. Bring me its body. With the strength of the Zombie Dragon King, it is not difficult to capture the Dragon Charles alive. But the value of a living dragon to Lin Yi is not as valuable as a dead dragon. After all, the bright red dragon corpse allows him to summon 3 undead dragon race units. This alone determines the fate of the Dragon Charles. By your will, my lord. The Zombie Dragon King slowly stood up and spread its huge dragon wings. At this time, a door to space appeared. It then flapped its dragon wings full of holes and entered the door of space. The next moment, it appeared above the golden oasis. Roar! A deafening roar resounded over the golden oasis. It was a Zombie Dragon King with a terrifying size. It hovered high in the sky over the oasis, spread its huge dragon wings, and let out a roar that had lasted for thousands of years, shaking the entire oasis. Countless birds were frightened and fainted. The sand people who were working were also stunned. Some sand people were so frightened that they fled blindly. More sand people also gathered together. They picked up labor tools that could not be called weapons at all, and were ready to defend their homeland to the death. Jackal Aguma was so frightened that his legs became weak. However, it also did not escape. He even forced himself to run towards the town hall despite his inner fear. For the Jackal Aguma at this moment, even if it dies, it will die by the side of the god envoy. At this time, it saw the divine messenger and the old housekeeper walking out of the bronze door, and immediately shouted, Master, run, there is a giant dragon coming. Quote. Lin Yi was silent. He looked at the Jackal Agu who was running towards him with a frightened expression. He was somewhat moved. This idiot deserves it. Lin Yi pretended to be angry and said, What are you shouting for? Go tell the sand people in the territory that the dragon is the guardian of our territory. Let them not be afraid and do whatever they have to do. Hearing this, the Jackal Aguma suddenly braked and stopped in place. It took a while to react. The frightened expression quickly dissipated, replaced by a face of excitement and a flattering smile, and he nodded and bowed repeatedly. Yes, yes, praise the great master, I will go to comfort those timid sand people right away. Soon, the storm calmed down. The oasis is gradually becoming more lively. Fish when you should fish, chop down trees when you should. Town hall, Lin Yi said with emotion. In the blink of an eye, the gold coins are almost used up again. With all his efforts, he previously held nearly 1 million Lord Gold coins, but after continuously upgrading Dragon's Tomb and Ancient War Mother Tree, he only had 70,000 gold coins left in his hand. It really goes as quickly as it comes. Hear Lin Yi's words. The old butler Huodin also slapped his face. He brought back nearly 9 million gold coins from Forest City. There were so many gold coins, enough to buy several tulip families, but they were all used up by the young master in just a few strokes. It was really a waste of money. But when I think of the powerful ancient tree man army and the terrifying zombie dragon king, he felt that these gold coins were really worth spending. The old housekeeper Huodin said, Young master, don't worry. When Miss Sophia sells the elven spring water, we will receive a large amount of gold coins. Lin Yi nodded. Immediately, his thoughts drifted to the sand forest area. There is really no need to worry about gold coins. What he is focusing on now is that the zombie dragon king brought back the body of the Dragon Charles and buried him in the dragon tomb. Lin Yi felt like he was dreaming when he thought of the zombie dragon king. In order to deal with the Dragon Charles, he formed the Ace team at the expense of the experience of other Royal Griffin Knights. He was even prepared to kill some of the elite aces to kill the Dragon Charles. The Eternal Tree Guard was later recruited, and he became more confident in his plan to kill the Dragon Charles. The result was unexpected. Finally, a zombie Dragon King came out. The Dragon Charles can be killed in a single fight. This made Lin Yi feel that things in the world were changing too fast. Plans never keep up with changes. It is dozens of kilometers away from the Golden Oasis. The sand forest area, which originally had lush vegetation, a large number of fruit trees and magical beasts, was completely destroyed by the undead army in just a few days. Wherever you look, there are rotten trees everywhere. There were corpses of monsters and animals everywhere. Under normal circumstances, these corpses will be transformed into undead creatures one after another under the influence of the undead canopy. As a result, an accident happened. This accident is the Dark Dragon Charles. Perhaps even the undead army did not expect that there was a dark dragon recovering from an injury living next door to his house, and it was also an adult dragon at the saint rank level. If you know, I'm afraid they won't build a stronghold in the sand forest area. Even the undead are afraid of this powerful creature that stands at the top of the world. The huge black dragon shadow roared past from low altitude with a hurricane force. The hot dragon's breath fell from the sky like lava. Wherever you go, the earth was scorched. Pieces of undead creatures and corpses were burned into black coal. Just touch it with your hand and it will turn into fly ash. It was a terrifying attack from the Dragon Charles, killing all undead creatures in sight. At the same time, there are also huge dark black light balls falling from high in the sky. Before touching the ground, these dark black light balls exploded violently, producing terrifying dark magic that swept everything around them. This is a magical attack from the Dragon Charles. The Dragon Clan has two special skills. One is Dragon Breath, which can melt gold and iron. The second is Dragon Language Magic, which is as powerful as the legendary Forbidden Spell. To deal with the weak undead creatures, the Dragon Charles did not use his domain power. He relied solely on the Dragon's Breath and the Dragon Language Magic released from time to sweep across all directions. So far, the number of undead creatures slaughtered by the Dragon Charles has exceeded 1 million. It basically killed 90% of the undead creatures that invaded the sand forest area. Including the strongholds built by the undead army, they were also completely destroyed by it. After this battle, no undead creature would dare to approach this area again, and it could rest in peace and recuperate. The other side, the army of the Skaven Kingdom has begun to cheer. They are praising the powerful Master Charles and celebrating the victory of this war. You humble, weak creature. The giant dragon Charles soaring high in the sky glanced at the rat army indifferently. It has made up its mind to destroy the kingdom of Ratmen after it recovers from its injuries. This is to punish Rat King Aubrey for disrespecting it, and at the same time, let it have a good meal before leaving. As a dark dragon, it doesn't mind eating rats. About there are very few living undead creatures. The Dragon Charles prepares to return to the Skaven Kingdom. But at this moment, it seemed to sense something and turned its head to look at the northern sky. On the horizon, a black spot loomed. Just a moment later, a dragon shadow appeared in the field of vision of the Dragon Charles. At that moment, the Dragon Charles's eyes almost popped out. It's a zombie dragon. Dragon God. How can there be such a big zombie dragon in the world? Could it be that it was a demigod dragon before it was alive? As a saint-rank dark dragon, it is already large enough, about 110 meters long. But this zombie dragon that appeared out of nowhere was actually even more exaggerated than it was, definitely 150 meters tall. It seems that the difference is only 40 meters, but put together it is just a few size differences. Not of the same magnitude at all. It's coming for me. We are both in the dragon race, why bother fighting each other? The Dragon Charles had a distorted expression, then turned around and ran away. It flapped its dragon wings desperately, just wanting to stay away from this terrifying zombie dragon. Master Charles has escaped. What a huge undead dragon. It's several times bigger than Master Charles. It seems to be very hostile to Master Charles and wants to hunt Master Charles. Such a big zombie dragon, if it were me, I would run away too. The army of the Rat Kingdom was in chaos. A minute ago they were cheering, celebrating the victory of this war, praising their powerful Master Charles with all kinds of beautiful words. As a result, a minute later, their owner Charles was hunted down. The scene changes too quickly. The rat warriors present were stunned. But soon, they came to their senses and rushed to escape to their underground kingdom. For them now, it doesn't matter whether the dragon Charles dies or not. They are in no mood to pay attention and just want to escape from this ghost place. They don't want to be a meal for the zombie dragon. Soon after, the news also spread back to the Skaven kingdom. At this moment, Rat King Aubrey is enjoying a delicious meal. It's the kind of thing where champagne is opened at halftime. The black-robed figure was also invited over to celebrate together. Mouse King Aubrey wore a very luxurious robe, a king's crown on his head, and held a wine glass made of gold in his right hand. This behavior made the black-robed figure feel uncomfortable all over. In his eyes, no matter how gorgeous the decorations were, they could not hide the fact that the Rat King Aubrey was a huge, fat, black mouse. If it were the rat people from the Orc Prairie, he would still be able to accept it. After all, it has a human form. Rat King Aubrey is nothing short of a fat, black rat. If he hadn't been personally invited by Rat King Aubrey, he would never have come to this celebration banquet. Rat King Aubrey did not notice the disgust in the eyes of the black-robed messenger. He had been immersed in the joy of victory in the war, grinning and said, "Praise the great Master Charles." The evil undead have finally seen the consequences of angering a dragon. After this battle, they no longer dare to set foot in the Sand Forest area, let alone covet our Rat-Man kingdom. "Congratulations, Your Majesty." The black-robed figure raised the glass of wine perfunctorily. Then he thought for a while and said, "When Lord Charles returns victoriously, Your Majesty can suggest to Lord Charles that we eliminate the human knights occupying the Golden Oasis. We must never give them another chance to be rampant, otherwise they will definitely come back. Your Majesty doesn't want this to happen, right?" He always suspected that those Golden Griffin Knights who suddenly appeared were plotting against the Dark Dragon Charles. Otherwise, what would they be doing in this barren desert? Could it still be mining salt? You know, those are the famous Golden Griffin Knights, and they can buy a lot of salt with a complete set of magic equipment. Whether it is collecting salt or mining other resources, it is overuse of materials. The forces behind these knights must be targeting the Dragon Charles just like him. Hearing the words of the black-robed figure, Rat King Aubrey was hesitant. It had been beaten up by Master Charles before. If he asks Master Charles to take action again this time, he may get beaten. Although its skin is rough and fleshy, it cannot withstand the critical attack from the dragon. The figure in black robe smiled and said, "Is Your Majesty worried about being rejected by Lord Charles?" Rat King Aubrey immediately denied it and said, "The great Master Charles is the guardian of our rat kingdom. Naturally, he will not sit back and let outside forces threaten his slaves. As long as I open my mouth, it will definitely destroy those evil human knights." Just when Rat King Aubrey promised, a rat guard rushed in and said, "Your Majesty, something serious has happened." Rat King Aubrey's fat face trembled and he said angrily, "How can you be so flustered? What happened?" The rat guard said in horror, "The war in the Sarin area has ended, but a terrifying zombie dragon appeared out of nowhere and intends to hunt down the great Master Charles." Zombie dragon. Want to hunt the Dragon Charles? Rat King Aubrey was so frightened that he stood up from the throne and asked hurriedly, "What happened next? Did the two giant dragons start a war?" The rat guard said, "They did not start a fight because Master Charles immediately chose to flee. The zombie dragon is now chasing Master Charles." Rat King Aubrey. The figure in black robe. Don't wait for the rat guards to retreat. Rat King Aubrey looked at the black-robed figure in fear and asked, "Mr. Messenger, what should we do?" The figure in black robe was also a little angry and said, "You ask me, who am I asking? How can we deal with a zombie dragon that can scare Sir Charles into running away? You can only pray that Mr. Charles can successfully escape now. It's not just Rat King Aubrey who needs prayers, too. After all, the Dragon Charles promised to be his partner after he recovered from his injury." Seeing that he was about to become a noble dragon magician, a more powerful zombie dragon appeared on the way, intending to take the life of the Dragon Charles. Where can he go to reason? At this moment, the figure in black robe was getting more and more angry as he thought about it. Displeased, he angrily shouted directly at Rat King Aubrey, "You shouldn't have disturbed Lord Charles's sleep. Now it's okay, you provoked a zombie dragon for nothing. If something happens to the dragon Charles, labor and management will have nothing to do with you. Quote question mark question mark question mark question mark quote. Rat King Aubrey was sprayed in the face on the spot. However, it was not easy to get along with, and shouted at the black-robed figure, "Human magician, I have tolerated you for a long time. You'd better pray that Master Charles is fine. If it dies, I will be the first I'll kill you." What a loud tone. I want to see how you kill me then. The black-robed figure sneered and walked away. Looking at his back, Rat King Aubrey's fat face was also full of murderous intent. Just now, one person and one mouse were chatting, laughing and drinking from glasses, but things fell apart in the blink of an eye. The other side. The dragon Charles is still running for his life. It flapped its dragon wings and soared into the clouds. In a short time, he had escaped hundreds of kilometers away. However, even if it tried its best, it could not get rid of the zombie dragon behind it. The arrow wound on the chest seemed to be getting more and more serious, and the severe pain was like a tide constantly eroding its consciousness, making it feel more and more desperate. After escaping for another 100 kilometers, the dragon Charles finally chose to give up. The zombie dragon is getting closer and closer, and it is futile to continue escaping. It can only turn around and attack hard. Above the clouds, the sun was particularly dazzling. The two giant dragons looked at each other from a distance of several thousand meters. For two giant dragons with a body length of more than 100 meters, this distance is just a matter of flapping their wings. But it's clearly visible. The two giant dragons are one big and one small. It's like the feeling of a small potato from the south facing a strong man from the north. At this time, the dragon Charles was frightened when he saw the zombie dragon's terrifyingly huge body. He had reason to believe that once caught by the zombie dragon's black claws, it would be torn in half. Such a huge dragon body. This zombie dragon was definitely a semi-divine level dragon before it was alive. Semi-divine level dragons are also at the level of clan leaders or elders in their dragon race lineage. For example, the leader of their dark dragon clan is the pinnacle demigod. The body shape is also similar to this zombie dragon. Looking at the dark red dragon scales covering its body should be a flaming dragon. But it seems that I have never heard of half-divine level flaming dragons dying in the past hundreds or even thousands of years. These thoughts flashed rapidly in the mind of Dragon Charles. It stared at the zombie dragon and said in the language of dragon race, "Senior, although you have transformed into an undead zombie dragon, we all belong to the same lineage of dragon race after all. Why can't we coexist peacefully? Even apart from being a member of the dragon race, I still belong to the evil camp. I believe that as long as we sit down and have a good chat, we will be able to find a lot of common topics." The zombie dragon king shook his mental consciousness and said, "Master has ordered me to take your body back with you." Owner. Dragon Charles's expression froze. It didn't expect that there was a master behind this zombie dragon. Who can control such a terrifying zombie dragon? A semi-divine level necromancer? Or the legendary undead lich? However, before it could think about it, a wave of black light exuding a strong corpse smell spread toward it. The speed was so fast that it instantly enveloped an area within a radius of 10,000 meters. This is the domain of the zombie dragon king. The dragon Charles did not dare to hesitate. Release your own dark realm to fight against it immediately. When two domains with different attributes met, a violent energy explosion instantly occurred, and directly destroyed a large cloud layer high in the sky. Looking up from the ground, the thick clouds broke through a huge cave. It's like the sky has been broken. In the center of this huge cave are two realm worlds that are in fierce collision. It could be vaguely seen that in the area where the domain energy exploded, there were two huge dragons fighting face to face. The battles between adult dragons are basically melee combat except for domain attacks. All other tricks are just showy. The same goes for dragon breath and dragon language magic that is comparable to forbidden spells. Because unless it is attribute restraint, it is difficult for either dragon breath or dragon language magic to harm the enemy dragon. Not only is it a waste of magic power, but the enemy dragon may find an opportunity to kill him with one blow. Stab it, accompanied by a sharp and harsh sound. The giant dragon Charles's dragon claws fiercely grabbed the zombie dragon king's abdomen, but the result was only countless sparks and a few shallow white marks. Charles suddenly had a distorted expression. The dragon's claws that it is so proud of can't break this zombie dragon's defense. What a joke. At this time, a black shadow hit the dragon Charles head on. The next moment, it was whipped away thousands of meters by the zombie dragon king's dragon tail, and at least 30 liters of dragon blood was sprayed out from its mouth uncontrollably, along with the green arrow inserted into its chest. Yedo was forced to explode. Ah! The dragon Charles let out a miserable howl. It hurts so much. Even with its willpower, it can't hold back at all. But the good news is that the arrow that tortured it for 2 years shattered. And it didn't break its heart. This means that with its resilience as a dragon race, it only takes a few days for it to return to its former peak, which is the saint level. And the bad news is, it's coming soon. At this time, the zombie dragon king came again. A claw clawed at the back of the dragon Charles, directly breaking through the defense, leaving several deep wounds visible to the bone. The giant dragon Charles endured the severe pain and attacked the zombie dragon king crazily. When it was desperate, it even spit out a mouthful of dragon breath towards the zombie dragon king's dragon face. However, whether it was a physical attack or its dragon breath attack, they were all blocked by the zombie dragon king's dry and hard dragon skin. The defense was extremely strong. Another puff was heard. The dragon Charles's right wing was severely damaged. Several large wounds were torn out by the zombie dragon king's claws. The bones wrapped in the dragon wings were also broken. Stop it! The dragon Charles screamed and tried his best to escape from the zombie dragon king's claws. Having lost one of its dragon wings, it had difficulty maintaining balance and was swaying as if it was about to fall from the sky. Fortunately, it is a saint-rank dragon and can fly at high altitudes without relying on dragon wings. Otherwise, it specifies that the dragon will fall on the spot. Do not kill me. The dragon Charles's mentality collapsed and he chose to flee again. Its realm has collapsed. Meat gambling is no match for zombie dragons. It had a premonition that death was coming, but it didn't want to die. The zombie dragon king didn't waste any time. He flapped his dragon wings so fiercely that he easily caught up with the dragon Charles across a distance of several thousand meters. It grabbed the dragon Charles's tail with one claw. Forcibly drag it in front of you. Then he stretched out another claw and stabbed directly into the back of the dragon Charles, and instantly cut off the back of the dragon Charles. After this move, the body of the dragon Charles became weak on the spot. It's like being paralyzed. But it didn't die immediately, but it couldn't resist. It could only watch the zombie dragon king open its big mouth and bite its neck. Just hear a click. The neck of the dragon Charles was instantly broken. This time he is really dead. The zombie dragon king's set of combos can be described as clean and smooth. The battle is over. The zombie dragon king used his 2 front paws to hold the body of the dragon Charles. Then he flapped his dragon wings and turned back towards the golden oasis. It looked like a big bird that had successfully caught its prey and went home happily. Meanwhile, the ground, about 10 kilometers away. There is a city with a huge area. If Miss Sophia were here, she would find that this city is her previous target location, Bastion City. In the city, countless sand people showed horrified expressions. They witnessed the shocking scene of 2 giant dragons fighting each other high in the sky. This is the first time in their lives. The battle is over. I witnessed the fall of a giant dragon with my own eyes. That picture is really terrifying. Fortunately, that zombie dragon is not interested in us, otherwise the entire Bastion City would be facing a catastrophe. I don't know where that zombie dragon comes from. I'm so lucky to be gone. Why do I care so much? Let's think about how to deal with the undead army outside the city. It can be seen that an astonishing number of undead creatures have gathered outside Bastion City. It's obvious. This undead storm has eroded more than just the Golden Oasis and the Skaven Kingdom. The Forest of Life is home to many cities built by natural elves. Forest City is just one of them. It is also the only city open to foreigners. As for other cities, they are the strongholds of the nature elves. Without special status or special circumstances, few aliens can enter. In addition to the city, there are also a large number of elven tribes scattered in the Forest of Life. From south to north, from west to east, it can be said that the entire Forest of Life is firmly controlled by the natural elves. At this moment, in an elf city named Kyati City, an elf exuding a powerful breath of life and nature opened his eyes. She has a beautiful appearance and a perfect tall figure. Her long golden hair is as smooth as silk and spreads over her slender waist and plump hips. Her eyes are dark green. It's like the supreme grade green jadeite sparkling with brilliance. She was wearing a long floral dress and sitting cross-legged on a jade bed made of white jade. Her voluptuous curves exuded infinite charm. Her ears are delicately pointed and long, the hallmark of an elf. All elves have similar ears. In fact, elves are also a very large group. Like the orcs, it is composed of various orcs. Among the elves, in addition to nature elves, there are forest elves, dark elves, ice and snow elves, elemental elves, dragon elves, flower elves, sun elves, etc. Natural elves are orthodox elves. Other elves are branches of the elves. In addition, in the elven system there are unicorns, tree men, phoenix guards, elven dragons, fairy dragons and other alien races, which belong to the elven camp. It can also be seen from this. The overall strength of the elf camp is very strong. The mark disappeared again, and this time, it disappeared completely. The nature spirit on the white jade bed whispered softly. Her voice is clear and sweet, like a clear spring or a silver bell, refreshing the heart. Did the dragon Charles destroy my elven arrows? Thinking of this, the nature elf frowned. She was a little confused. If she were the dragon Charles, she would hide as before until she destroyed the elven arrows and appeared again. Instead of showing up and destroying the arrows after a long time. Isn't this a deliberate attempt to keep her in a locked position? Through the location where the mark last disappeared, she could determine that the dragon Charles was in the Karar Desert and not far from Bastion City in the Sand People Kingdom. Perhaps, this is a conspiracy. The dragon Charles is trying to lure me over to get revenge. The nature spirit speculated so. In fact, she was completely wrong. The dragon Charles didn't even know she had left a mark on the elven arrows. If Charles had known about it, he would not have left the Ratman Kingdom to clear out the undead army in the Saran area, and he would not have been chased by the zombie dragon king later. As for why her mark only appeared after 2 years, it was entirely because the dormant altar built by the dragon Charles not only isolated the breath of the dragon from it, but also accidentally severed the connection between the mark and her. For 2 years, the dragon Charles never left the altar in order to heal his wounds. Naturally, she couldn't sense the existence of the mark. Sometimes, things are just such a coincidence. If this is a conspiracy, there may be danger on Amy's side. Thinking of this, the nature elf took out a remote communication magic device and contacted his good sister. Earlier, when the dragon Charles came to the Saran area and slaughtered the undead, she sensed it and entrusted her good sister Amy to kill the dragon Charles. With Amy's strength and a saint-rank unicorn, killing the wounded dragon Charles is not difficult. But now, since she speculated that this might be a conspiracy, she had to remind Amy. After a moment, a voice came from the magic device. "Sister, why did you contact me suddenly?" "That's it, Amy." The nature elf recounted his discovery and asked, "Amy, where are you now? Have you reached the position I gave you before?" "Not yet, sister." Elf Amy replied, "I'm still about 100 kilometers away from there." Hear this. The nature elf immediately said, "The dragon Charles is no longer there. I just sensed that its location is near Bastion City. You stay where you are for now and wait for me to come." "Don't worry, sister. With Teresa following me, I can handle it even if there is a conspiracy. You listen to me." "Okay, sister, then I will wait for you at the Golden Oasis." Elf Amy said, "I stopped by to find out where the elf spring water in the Golden Oasis comes from." "That's okay." The nature spirit relaxed. After ending the communication, she walked out of the room, summoned another unicorn, and rode it out of Kiati City. She is the elf city lord of Kiati City. Originally, she did not plan to deal with the dragon Charles personally, but in order to prevent her good sister from being in danger, she had no choice but to make a trip in person. The other side. Under the blue sky, a snow-white unicorn flew high in the sky. On the back of the unicorn sits a delicate and lovely elf. She has a beautiful appearance that is not inferior to her sister. But relatively speaking, her figure is slightly petite, like a Lolita. Sister shows her mature style. Elf Amy stretched out her little hand to wipe the sweat from her forehead, and couldn't help but complain, "Holy elf goddess. The hellish weather in the Karar Desert is really going to kill the elves." As an intelligent race that respects nature, nature elves rarely choose to use magic to resist harsh weather environments, whether in scorching deserts or cold ice worlds. So now she is so hot that she wants to stick out her tongue. Then let's go back to the forest of life. The unicorn speaks human language, and it doesn't want to come to this desert. Elf Amy knocked the unicorn on the head with her hand and said with a smile, "We can't go back now. We have to go to the Golden Oasis and wait for Sister Ella there." "All right." The unicorn shook his head, flying towards the Golden Oasis 100 kilometers away at an extremely fast speed. I don't know how long it took. The unicorn suddenly stopped. Elf Amy, who was lying on the back of the unicorn, wondered, "Teresa, what's wrong?" The unicorn said in a surprised tone, "Amy, I suspect I'm dazzled. Look to the southeast, are there a group of ancient tree people there?" "Don't be ridiculous, this is not the forest of life." Before she finished speaking, Elf Amy also widened her green eyes. She reached out and rubbed her eyes again. "It's really an ancient tree man. How come there are so many ancient tree people in this desert?" Chapter 81. Kilometers away, in a sunken sandy area, dozens of huge ancient tree people gathered together. They are fighting undead creatures. A steady stream of undead creatures climbed over the surrounding continuous sand dunes and rushed towards the ancient tree men on the battlefield. They rushed forward one after another and were not afraid of death. The scene was just like bugs surrounding humans in Starship Troopers. The scene is very spectacular. However, the ancient tree people are not the humans in the movies. They all have king level, and they are all 30 meters tall. Compared to the undead creatures on the battlefield, they are like invincible giants. No matter how many came, they were all easily killed. This battle has lasted for an unknown period of time. Countless white skeletons can be seen piled up on the battlefield, as well as a large number of corpses of mummies, ghouls, and even gargoyles. Gargoyles are the flying unit of the undead camp. They possess extremely strong defense and vampire-like speed. But in front of the ancient tree people, undead creatures like gargoyles are still not enough. At every moment, many gargoyles were shot with wooden spears, and their bodies fell from high altitudes into the sand. Some bodies fell into pieces as soon as they hit the ground. This is the characteristic of gargoyles. When facing enemy attacks, they will selectively petrify their bodies to enhance their defense. In addition, when all gargoyles die, their bodies will also turn to stone. Teresa, they are surrounded by evil undead creatures. Let's go over and give them a helping hand. Okay, Amy. The unicorn quickly ran towards the battlefield. The moment it arrived on the battlefield, the silver horn on its head burst out with countless purple lightning bolts. At the same time, the entire battlefield was also shrouded in a lightning field. Accompanied by dense thunder, all the undead creatures on the battlefield were chopped into charcoal. Thousands of undead creatures died cleanly in an instant. This scene actually made the ancient tree people on the battlefield confused for a while. Then, they locked on the unicorn in the sky and the elf Amy riding on the unicorn's back, and at the same time, thick and long wooden spears appeared in their hands. Hello, I am Amy, the elf from Kiati City. Elf, get out of here. This is our territory. An ancient tree man said angrily. Elf Amy's expression was stunned. She sensed very strong hostility in these ancient tree people. Once she continues to approach or refuses to leave, these ancient tree people will quickly attack her. This made her feel incredible. After all, she is a natural spirit. The ancient tree people are the guardians of the natural elves. This is the eternal truth. In the history of the Holy Continent, there has never been an example of tree people attacking nature elves. Tree people and nature elves have the strongest alliance. My friends, what's wrong with you? Elf Amy quickly said. I am a natural elf, the friendliest partner of your tree people clan. Why are you hostile to me? The ancient tree man did not answer Elf Amy's question. Instead, he repeated what he just said. The other ancient treemen were also ready to fight, holding up the wooden spears in their hands. Saw this scene, Elf Amy could only ride away on the unicorn. Although she can easily defeat these ancient tree people with her strength, she will never do that. The elves can never take action against the tree people. Teresa, what do you think happened to them? It seems that the covenant with our nature elves has been forgotten. I don't know either. Unicorn Teresa shook her head and said, but no matter what, we must investigate this matter clearly. In comparison, the issues of Elf Spring Water and Dragon Charles are not important. Yes, Elf Amy said with a melancholy look. She still can't believe it. Some tree people actually regard her as an enemy as a natural elf. I'm afraid even Her Majesty the Elf Queen wouldn't believe this kind of thing, right? At this time, Unicorn Teresa said again, this place is very close to the Golden Oasis. Those ancient tree people are most likely related to this oasis. I know, speed up. We must investigate the truth behind the scenes. Elf Amy urged, after Elf Amy and the unicorn left. The ancient tree people who stayed on the battlefield also began to clean up the battlefield. This elf is a bit hateful. He actually killed all our monsters and cost us a lot of experience. You know, we managed to attract those undead creatures with great difficulty. This is also the first time I've been robbed by someone. The direction she left seems to be our territory. We need to report it to the Lord immediately. I have already reported to the Lord. That's good. By the way, do we need to return to the territory? No, Lord, let us continue hunting. He has already called back the Eternal Tree Guards. Coupled with the Zombie Dragon King at the peak of Saint Rank, that elf cannot make a big splash. I feel relieved now. Brothers, clean the battlefield quickly and change places. Raise the level as quickly as possible and conquer the world for the great Lord. Praise the Lord. The ancient tree people cheered with great excitement. Just from this point, you can see the difference between them and the native tree people. You know, as the Lord, Lin Yi has not officially issued such an order or plan, but they are already thinking about helping Lin Yi conquer the world. The tree people in the native world do not have such a strong desire for war. This is the Golden Oasis. Lin Yi said to the Zombie Dragon King who returned to his territory, there will be an elf coming over later. Keep an eye on her. If there is any irregularity, then you are welcome. As you command, Master. Zombie Dragon King Wallace respectfully obeyed. Then it flapped its huge dragon wings and rushed into the sky, slowly circling. Like a patron saint, guarding the entire oasis, Lin Yi came to the dragon tomb and buried the body of the Dark Dragon Charles inside. Undertaker. Dark Dragon. Name. Wilcox Charles Victor. Level before death. Saint level. Lifespan. 1,359 years. Death anniversary. Died half an hour ago, killed by the Zombie Dragon King Wallace under Lord Lin Yi. After a while, 3 undead dragons were summoned by Lin Yi. They are the Bone Dragon, the Carrion Dragon, and the Nether Dragon whose body is almost completely transparent. 1 for 3, make a lot of money. Bone Dragon Charles. Level. Saint level intermediate. Growth potential. Peak of Saint rank. Summon information. A serious bone dragon, with the common advantages and disadvantages of the bone dragon family, nothing particularly outstanding. Closing square bracket. The same goes for the Carrion Dragon and the Nether Dragon. Level Saint level intermediate. Growth potential. Peak of Saint rank. When summoned, Lin Yi's Lord Talent Awakening of Ancient Bloodline was indeed triggered, but these 3 undead dragons failed to successfully evolve. This made Lin Yi slightly disappointed. Compared with the Zombie Dragon King, these 3 undead dragons are directly inferior to 1 level. Especially the growth potential is far inferior to that of the Zombie Dragon King. After all, the growth potential of the Zombie Dragon King is as high as the peak of Demigod, which is much better than the Eternal Tree Guard. But soon, Lin Yi returned to normal. He exchanged the corpse of a giant dragon for 3 undead dragon soldiers. What else could he be dissatisfied with? The most important is, the combat power of each of these 3 undead dragons is equivalent to that of the injured dragon Charles. It's equivalent to 3 Charles. What kind of bike does he want? Fortunately, I gritted my teeth and raised Dragon's Tomb to high level, otherwise the levels of these 3 dragons would have been even lower. The level of Dragon Charles is Saint level. Under the summons of high-level Dragon Tomb, the levels of the 3 undead dragons all reached the Saint level intermediate level, only lowering 1 level. If you haven't upgraded before, if summoned with middle-level Dragon's Pain, their level will only be Saint level. 1 for beginners and 1 for intermediate. The gap in strength is still very large. In the future, the ultimate building blueprint will be released, and you can continue to increase the level of the Dragon Tomb and upgrade it to the ultimate building. The summoned undead dragon race units will be stronger, at least at the highest level in life. The reason why I say, at least, is because ultimate buildings generally have very special abilities. For example, arms building. Once you reach the ultimate level, your daily troop recruitment will increase tenfold. This shows how awesome the ultimate building is. It is worth mentioning that the 3 undead dragons summoned are all named Charles. Bone Dragon Charles, Carrion Dragon Charles, and Ghost Dragon Charles. It really feels like having triplets with one breast. But they are still easy to distinguish, after all, the types are different. Later, Lin Yi released the 3 dragons Charles together from the dragon tomb. He needed to give the elf or other outsiders a stronger deterrent. My level is still a bit low. After this period of accumulation, coupled with the huge experience given back to him by the zombie dragon king's killing of the dark dragon Charles, Lin Yi's level has also broken through again. Promoted from the high level of Transcendent to the peak of Transcendent. It is only 1 step away from the strong Saint rank. But the gap between this step is very far. Saint rank masters control the power of the field and have absolute suppression over Transcendent level professionals. Only by setting foot in the Saint rank and mastering the field can my safety be better guaranteed. I won't have to worry about being attacked and then dying suddenly. Lin Yi considers herself a person who is very afraid of death. Just at this time, a message from the Lord system suddenly appeared in his mind. Lord, you don't have to worry about your own safety. Your destiny is bound to the territory. Only when the territory is destroyed can you be killed. Closing square bracket. As long as the territory is not destroyed, even the immortal gods cannot kill you. Closing square bracket. Even if you die in the outside world, you can be resurrected from the core building. Closing square bracket. Look at this series of information prompts. Lin Yi was silent for a long time. In the end, he couldn't help but complain. My territory has already been upgraded to the level of a town. Why are you telling me such an important thing now? The Lord has never asked me. Closing square bracket. Quote question mark question mark question mark question mark quote. Lin Yi had a question mark on his forehead. Does he still need to ask about this kind of thing? Shouldn't the system tell him immediately? Fortunately, he was worried that his territory would be attacked by the dark dragon Charles, and that he would be sprayed in the face by a breath of dragon breath. He didn't sleep well for at least 2 nights. System, you are my biological father. From now on, you must tell me immediately about anything that is related to my wealth and life. If I die unjustly, I will never let you go even if I'm a ghost. Okay Lord, I won't let you become a ghost easily. Closing square bracket. Quote. Lin Yi walked out of the dragon's tomb with ease. Close the heavy bronze door. Dragon tomb, only he, as the Lord, can open it, so there is no need to worry about someone breaking in by mistake. Look up to the sky. 4 giant dragons, 1 big and 3 small, were circling thousands of meters in the air. Each dragon is extremely large. Especially the zombie dragon king, which looks like a giant beast from ancient times. This picture is really quite shocking. The sand people were also doing their own thing. They were also startled when they suddenly saw 3 undead dragons appearing out of thin air. But soon they were back to normal again, doing whatever they had to do. Because they knew that these 3 undead dragons were also summoned by their lord. He is the guardian of them and even the entire oasis. They don't need to be afraid at all. Should be here soon. Lin Yi looked towards the distant sky. To be honest, he didn't want to come into contact with the nature elves so soon. But people were already here, and there was nothing he could do. Unless it's a painful killing, kill the elf and unicorn directly. At this moment, it is about a few kilometers away from the golden oasis. Unicorn Teresa stopped high in the sky. She breathed in the cold air and said, "What a terrifying undead aura, it has definitely reached the peak of saint rank." Everywhere you look, 3 behemoths stood under the clouds in the distance, already locked onto her. No, it should be 4. There is a giant beast whose body is almost completely transparent. Although she couldn't see it clearly, she could feel the other person's aura. That's a netherworld dragon. The other 3 giant beasts are also undead dragons, namely the zombie dragon, the bone dragon, and the carrion dragon. They are all powerful creatures at the saint rank level. What the hell is this place? How come there are so many undead dragons? Normally, you may not see one for decades, but now 4 of them appear all at once. Amy, I have an uneasy feeling. We'd better not go there and wait until Ella comes over. No, I have to go. Elf Amy's focus was different. She was looking at the huge golden oasis that exuded a rich atmosphere of life and nature. In the center of the oasis, there is a blue lake. Near the lake stands an ancient tree hundreds of meters high. That's her focus. Teresa, do you know the ancient War Mother tree? Elf Amy said with a trembling voice. Unicorn Teresa turned to look at Amy and said softly, of course I know the ancient War Mother tree, which is the inheritance source of the tree people. The relationship between the tree people and the ancient War Mother tree is the same as the relationship between your natural elves and the Elf Mother tree. Yes, before this, I have never seen the ancient War Mother tree. Even in the capital of our elven kingdom, there is no such mother tree. Elf Amy said with great emotion, I just heard that there is an ancient War Mother tree in the ancestral land of our elves. It is one of the oldest guardians of the ancestral land. Amy, what do you mean by these words? Unicorn Teresa followed Elf Amy's gaze. After a moment, she breathed in the air conditioning and said, you don't want to tell me that the ancient tree hundreds of meters high is the rumored ancient War Mother tree, do you? Yes, I believe it is. Elf Amy said. Although I have never seen the ancient War Mother tree in my ancestral land, I can feel the aura of the tree people in this ancient tree. Let me ask, what kind of tree man can be hundreds of meters tall? Unless it's a tree god. So I speculate that it must be the legendary ancient War Mother tree. Unicorn Teresa shook her head and said, this is too unbelievable. I would rather believe that the ancient tree has evolved into a tree god than I can believe that it is an ancient War Mother tree. Elf Amy said, then how do you explain the ancient tree people we just saw? I don't believe nature created them. ... Unicorn Teresa was silent. The meaning of my little friend is very clear. That ancient tree is the legendary ancient War Mother tree, which gave birth to those ancient tree people. Let's go, enter the golden oasis. Elf Amy said. No matter what, I want to find out the secret of this oasis. Unicorn Teresa hesitated and said, but Amy, there are 4 saint rank level undead dragons there. Elf Amy laughed and said, my dear Miss Teresa, since when did you become as timid as the flower elf? No, Unicorn Teresa immediately denied it. Then he gritted his teeth and flew towards the golden oasis in the distance. The area of this oasis is many times larger. It was not like this before. Compared to the appearance of the ancient War Mother tree, I am not surprised by the changes in the golden oasis. With the help of the ancient War Mother tree, this oasis will become even larger. Elf Amy said, perhaps in 100 years, this place will become a lush forest no less than our forest of life. Soon after, they stopped about 300 meters from the edge of the golden oasis. It's not that they don't want to enter the golden oasis, but because they are locked in. In addition to the 4 undead dragons in the sky, the arrow towers and fortresses standing on the edge of the wall were all locked on them. If they continue to get closer, they will be attacked immediately. The key is, behind the wall, there are more than 100 golden armored trees standing tens of meters high. He also looked at them with hostile eyes. Amy, these tree people seem to be a little different. Unicorn Teresa whispered to Elf Amy. You read that right? Elf Amy nodded. A shocked expression appeared on her delicate and lovely cheeks. She whispered, they are the eternal tree guards, and their status in the tree family is higher than that of the ancient tree people. Just like the status of the sun elves in our natural elf family. Eternal tree guards. Unicorn Teresa was surprised. There are not many trees of this level even in your elf king's capital, but there are more than 100 here. Elf Amy said, this also makes me more convinced that that ancient tree is the ancient War Mother tree. Only it can give birth to so many eternal tree guards. ... Unicorn Teresa took a deep breath. Now she also particularly wants to know what kind of secrets this golden oasis hides. The power behind the golden oasis is so vast with divine ability. Those eternal tree guards don't want us to enter the golden oasis. Unicorn Teresa would definitely not dare to break in. Those undead dragons hovering high in the sky were enough to suppress her. Especially the terrifyingly large zombie dragon. It's not an exaggeration to call it the zombie dragon king. Once engaged, the zombie dragon alone could tear her to pieces. In the Holy Continent, the Unicorn clan is also a top powerful and intelligent race. But when facing Dragon Race, it was still a little bit behind. I'll go talk to them. Get invited when you can. After saying that, Elf Amy flew towards the Eternal Tree Guard standing near the wall. I don't know what they talked about. After a while, Unicorn Teresa saw her little friend waving to her with excitement. She had doubts, but she still came to Elf Amy. Immediately, a man and an animal walked through the slowly opened door and entered the territory of the Golden Oasis. Under the guidance of a group of Eternal Tree Guards, they walked towards the center of the territory. Unicorn Teresa asked in a low voice, "Amy, what did you say to them?" Elf Amy shook her head and said, "I didn't say anything. The reason why we were able to come in was because the Lord in charge of this Golden Oasis gave us permission." Hearing this, Unicorn Teresa said, "I just hope this is a Lord full of kindness and justice." If there were only tree people in this oasis territory, she would be firm in her thoughts. But the appearance of several undead dragons made her unsure. As everyone knows, the tree people, like the nature elves, belong to the good and lawful camp. Undead creatures, on the other hand, belong to the evil and chaotic camp. Good and lawful and evil and chaotic, the two camps are completely opposite. Coexistence is basically impossible. However, in this oasis territory, there were both undead dragons and tree people, which had a strong impact on her worldview and cognitive outlook. I don't know how long I walked. She even saw a lot of sand people. And the desert coyotes who were helping the sand people carry wood and stones. This is such a magical place. Elf Amy sighed in praise. She also saw thousands of sand people cutting trees not far away. This picture is not surprising. But the amazing thing is that their helper is actually a desert coyote who is a monster. Each desert coyote has a rope woven from bark tied to its back, and a flat wooden wheel cart is dragged behind it. Whenever the carts were loaded with lumber, the desert coyotes would carry them away. On those flat forest roads, there were desert coyotes coming and going, looking very busy and lively. Monsters are difficult to tame, especially low-level monsters like desert coyote. Low-level warcraft means that the IQ is very low, and it is more likely to be irritable and aggressive. This territory is actually able to tame a large number of desert coyotes and even help them work together, which is very amazing. I traveled again for who knows how long. The group finally walked out of the dense woods. During the whole process, neither the Elf Amy nor the Unicorn Teresa showed any impatience. They abided by the rules of the Golden Oasis and walked the entire process. After all, 4 undead dragons are always hovering high in the sky. And keep locking them. How dare they disobey the rules? As the field of vision in front of her widened, Elf Amy also saw a beautiful picture that she couldn't help but admire. Blue sapphire lake, thick date palm trees and giant pillars. Lush green space, flowers everywhere. There are also clusters of wooden houses and a small boat fishing in the lake. These scenes intertwined into an extremely beautiful picture. It also makes people feel relaxed and happy. Especially after transmigrating the boundless sea of sand and being eroded by the scorching sun for a long time, entering such a world makes me feel like I have arrived in paradise. It's so beautiful. There is also a magnificent hall and towering tower over there. That magical lord must have been developing here for a long time. I just don't understand why there hasn't been more news about the Golden Oasis before. This time, if it weren't for the need to deal with the resurrected Dark Dragon Charles, she would not have appeared in the Karar Desert. As for investigating the fairy spring water, she is not doing it. She was just along for the ride. The original intention was to wait for her sister Ella at the Golden Oasis. But I didn't expect that I would have such a magical experience. When she later tells her sister Ella what happened here, Ella will definitely not believe it. After a while, Elf Amy and Unicorn Teresa were brought to the door of the town hall. An eternal tree guard who led the way said, "Go in, elves, the Lord is waiting for you inside." "Okay, thank you, thank you." Elf Amy smiled and nodded. Then he took Unicorn Teresa into the town hall. This is a very luxuriously decorated palace, and the space is also very spacious. It can easily accommodate the Unicorn Teresa, who is more than 10 meters in length, although she can transform into a human. a member of the Warcraft clan, promoted to Transcendent and able to speak human language. If you advance to Saint rank, you can transform into a human. But most of the time, Warcraft likes to maintain its original form. In this form, the combat effectiveness of Warcraft is also the strongest. On the contrary, transforming into human form will reduce the combat effectiveness of the monster to a certain extent. There was no one else in the spacious hall. There was only a young human sitting on a chair high in the hall. Humanity. Elf Amy was a little surprised. She had never seen an ancient treant, or even a higher-level eternal treant guard, loyal to a human, and this human was only at the transcendent level. He hasn't even set foot in Saint rank. How to control so many tree people and 4 undead dragons in the sky? The most important is, there is also an ancient war mother tree in his territory. All this puzzled Elf Amy. She had some doubts that Lin Yi was not the real lord of the Golden Oasis at all. The real controller of this oasis stands behind Lin Yi. However, after thinking about it, Elf Amy still performed the etiquette of the elves towards Lin Yi very seriously, and said softly, "Dear human lord, I am Elf Amy from Kiati City. Can you meet me here? It's my honor to meet you. This is my partner Teresa." The unicorn Teresa on the side also bowed. Her right front leg is bent and her head is lowered, to show respect for the identity of Lord Lin Yi. Lin Yi also smiled and introduced himself, and said, "Elves and unicorns from far away, my territory welcomes you." Praise the Lord. Elf Amy squinted her crescent-shaped eyes and showed a sweet smile. I have to say that Amy's delicate face, delicate pointed ears, and petite figure like a Lolita are so cute that Lin Yi feels like her heart is about to melt. Instinctively, I want to hold this lowly elf in my arms and ravage her. Think of this. Lin Yi couldn't help but secretly cursed himself for being useless. As a distinguished transmigrator, what scene has he not seen? Lin Yi quickly adjusted her attitude and asked with a faint smile, "I wonder what the beautiful elf lady is doing when she suddenly visits my territory." Elf Amy explained, "Lord, I came after the dark dragon Charles. This evil dragon once slaughtered one of our tribes in the Forest of Life. It needs to pay for what it has done. But I never thought that I would accidentally meet a group of ancient tree people on the way. The tree people have always lived in the Forest of Life in our ancestral land, and rarely appear in other places, especially here in the vast Kalar Desert. So, I came to your territory with curiosity." After a slight pause in speaking, Elf Amy bowed to Lin Yi again. "Dear Lord Lin Yi, please forgive me for being disrespectful to you. I also hope you can understand that the tree people have always been the most loyal partners and friends of our nature elves, and they will never change. I need to find out why they are loyal to you. And there is an ancient war mother tree in your territory. Is the ancient war mother tree rare?" Lin Yi asked knowingly. Elf Amy was like a simple elf. She had no doubt about him and said sincerely, "The ancient war mother tree is as rare as the mother goddess tree of our natural elf family. There is only one in the entire holy continent, planted in the ancestral land of our elves. Few people know where the ancestral land of the elves is. But certainly not in the Forest of Life. The Forest of Life is ruled by the natural elf kingdom and is not the blood source of the elf clan." Lin Yi was very satisfied with Elf Amy's answer. He indirectly obtained a lot of important information. "Since you recognize that it is the ancient war mother tree, you should know the origin of the tree people in my territory. The reason why they are loyal to me is because I planted this ancient war mother tree." Elf Amy was silent for a moment. Then he said, "Lord, your words are hard to believe. An ancient war mother tree that can cultivate tree people cannot be cultivated by human power. Even if the Lord really plants the seeds, it will take a very long time to grow into the current tree shape. The ancient war mother tree outside is hundreds of meters high. Even if it grows 1 meter a day, it will take nearly 2 years. After such a long time, someone has already discovered the anomaly of the Golden Oasis. So, this is absolutely impossible." Lin Yi said, "I have no need to deceive you, but it involves the secrets of my territory, so I cannot tell you." Hear this. Elf Amy suddenly couldn't ask any more questions. Finding out other people's secrets is taboo everywhere. Just like she won't tell others her little secrets. Elf Amy changed the subject and asked, Lord, a large number of elven springs have appeared in the forest city recently, but does it come from your territory? Good. Lin Yi nodded slightly. This is no longer a secret. Elf Amy said. Elf spring water is diluted with the water of life, and it is also something unique to our natural elf family. It is rumored that the water of life is prepared from the sap of the elf mother tree. This is true. I just don't know how the Lord prepared it. Could it be that in your hands, you even have the elf mother tree of my natural elf clan? Lin Yi narrowed his eyes slightly and said, Elf, are you questioning me? Elf Amy quickly apologized and said, Dear Lord, please forgive my tone. I didn't mean to be disrespectful to you, I just wanted to make it clear. Her words stopped here. What she was thinking was that she especially wanted to find out who Lin Yi was. It's the ancient war mother tree, it's the fairy spring water. She even wondered if Lin Yi had robbed the ancestral land of their elf clan. Although this is simply impossible. But the more she looked at the ancient war mother tree outside, the more she felt that it was the one from their elven ancestral land. The more she looked at it, the more it looked like. Lin Yi said calmly, This is also the secret of my territory. Elf Aidon was speechless. It was another matter involving secrets, so it was naturally impossible for Lin Yi to reveal it to her. All right. Elf Amy blinked and said, Dear Lord, I wonder if I can stay in your territory for one night. I want to wait for my sister Ella here. She is the Lord of Kiati City. The reason why I came to the Karar Desert is to deal with the matter of the Dark Dragon Charles. She tried to explain as clearly as possible, lest Lin Yi think she had ulterior motives for staying. Although she did want to find out more information about this oasis. Lin Yi said, I'm sorry, my territory does not accept outside friends for the time being. There is an oasis about 100 kilometers southwest, you can go there to camp. Hearing this, Amy's delicate little face suddenly felt bitter. Not even staying for one night. Elf Amy asked, I wonder when your territory will be open to the outside world. Or will it always be forbidden to outsiders? Lin Yi said with a smile, Miss Amy can come back later, and you will have a very wonderful night by then. Praise the Lord, this is exactly what I expected. Elf Amy breathed a sigh of relief. Then she will come to the Golden Oasis again in a few days. Dear Lord, in this case I will take my leave first. Before leaving, can I get your permission to take a close look at the ancient war mother tree? Can. Lin Yi nodded. Elf Amy suddenly became happy. Then the two men and the beast walked out of the town hall and came under the ancient war mother tree. Elf Amy raised her head, looked up at this towering ancient tree, felt the incomparable surging life and natural breath emanating from it, and was instantly immersed in it. She squinted her crescent-shaped eyes and whispered as if intoxicated, Lord, this is the first time I have felt the breath of the ancient war mother tree. She is really too great and beautiful. It's comparable to the mother goddess tree of our elf kingdom. Lin Yi asked curiously, It is rumored that your natural elves were born from the elf mother tree. Is this true? Yes, Lord, Elf Amy said. All natural elves come from the elf mother tree. Just like the fruit tree gives birth to fruits, we are also the children of the elf mother tree. Lin Yi imagined one after another of elves hanging on the branches of the elf mother like real things. The painting style is indeed somewhat anomaly. Isn't this similar to the ginseng fruit tree from Genuan Daxian? I just don't know if eating elves can lead to immortality. Thank you Lord, you have made my wish come true for many years. Elf Amy thanked Lin Yi very sincerely and said, Please also tell the tree people in your territory to pay attention to safety when going out. The dark dragon Charles is full of malice towards elves and tree people. Quote. She still didn't know that there were 3 Charles hovering above her head. I will, you are a kind elf. Lin Yi smiled and nodded. After thinking for a moment, he suddenly asked, Miss Amy, do you know where the dragon soul grass is? Dragon soul grass. Elf Amy looked stunned and asked, I wonder how much the Lord needs. Lin Yi said, At least 100, the more the better. Elf Amy shook her head and said, It wouldn't be difficult if there were just a few dragon soul grasses. But 100 is really a bit too much. Dragon soul grass is an extremely rare magic potion that can strengthen the soul and improve mental talent. This potion will only grow in the dragon's burial ground. It's rare on land. After all, dragon race's headquarters is in the 7 seas. However, there is a place. If your lord is particularly in need of dragon soul grass, you can try your luck at Falling Dragon Canyon. Falling Dragon Canyon is also in the Kalar Desert, about 1,400 kilometers away from the Golden Oasis and located in the southwest. 10,000 years ago, a large number of giant dragons died there. Dragon's blood dyed the entire canyon red. Occasionally, bounty hunters will find dragon soul grass there. Lord, you can also try it, but please be careful. There are many and powerful undead creatures there. Facing the solemn reminder from Miss Elf, Lin Yi's eyes lit up. For him, Dragonfall Canyon is a complete copy. In fact, the undead legions gathered in the wild world, as well as the occasional group of Warcraft, can already meet the hunting needs of most soldiers in the territory. It's like the Royal Griffin Knights Corps under Lin Yi. I leave early and come back late every day. Busy as hell. Since Lin Yi no longer deliberately enhances the strength of Ace Team, other Royal Griffin Knights can also gain experience and start to level up one after another. The overall strength of the Royal Griffin Knights Corps is steadily improving. But only for the Royal Griffin Knights. Relatively speaking, the improvement speed of the Ancient Tree People Army is very slow. Because their level is very high. The initial level of the Ancient Tree People is the intermediate king level, and some even reach the high king level. As for the Eternal Tree Guards, they are a transcendent level unit. Although there are many undead creatures in the wild world, they are generally of low levels and cannot provide much experience. Often they need to kill tens of thousands of undead creatures before they can possibly advance to a level. Today, the scale of the undead army has not yet reached the level of natural disaster. Therefore, it cannot meet the hunting needs of the Ancient Tree People army. There are also 4 Saint-rank dragons under Lin Yi's command, and they are even less likely to advance in level by hunting those weak undead creatures. Even if they kill hundreds of thousands of undead creatures, it will be difficult for them to break through. Therefore, Lin Yi needs a better hunting environment. The Falling Dragon Canyon mentioned by Elf Amy is exactly what Lin Yi wants. He needs such an experience copy, with a large number of monsters and powerful strength to enhance the level and strength of the 4 undead dragons. Not only can it be upgraded, but there is also a chance of picking a large amount of dragon soul grass. Simply perfect, thank you, Miss Amy, for the information. Lin Yi smiled and said, the information you gave me is very helpful. Elf Amy responded with a sweet smile and said, it's an honor for me to be able to help the Lord. It's a pity that I can't live in your territory temporarily, which makes me very regretful. Lin Yi pretended not to understand what Amy said. It's really not possible in the near future. We can only wait for a while. He had plans earlier to open Golden Oasis. Otherwise, he would not have built the market. The biggest function of the market is to collect transaction taxes. The more powerful the Chamber of Commerce is in the market and the greater the transaction volume, the more taxes it receives. It's like Forest City. Countless chambers of commerce from all the major kingdoms gathered together. The transaction tax collected alone is an astronomical figure. Let the natural elves make a lot of money. Lin Yi is envious of this. However, Lin Yi also needs to make some preparations before opening the oasis. He had a few rough ideas for now. For example, the current Golden Oasis is divided into 2 areas, the outer city and the inner city. Outsiders could only stay in the outer city and the market was moved there. The inner city is the residence of the troops and the people. Without permission, outsiders are not allowed to set foot in the inner city. Even if you enter the inner city under special circumstances, you still need to return to the outer city at night. Another example is to build a super strong magic defense shield to cover the inner city. This shield must at least be able to isolate mental power detection. In addition, the military units under his command must also be strong enough, able to deter those transcendent level forces. Only after these are settled, Lin Yi will consider opening the Golden Oasis. Before that, let alone the elves, Celestial Immortal could not even think of spending the night in his territory. Before leaving, Elf Amy suddenly said to Lin Yi, Lord, I saw that you seem to have raised many silvertail fish in Sapphire Lake. Good. Lin Yi nodded. So far, the number of silvertails in Sapphire Lake has exceeded 100,000. In 2 days, a new growth cycle begins. The total number of silvertails he raises will likely reach more than 500,000, and all of them will be adult fish, meeting fishing standards. By then, he will catch part of the silvertails, sell it and exchange it for gold coins. As for why you don't have to wait for a while, it's because the halo effect of Altar of Luck will disappear soon and will be refreshed into a new halo buff. When the time comes, silvertails, desert coyotes, moose, all will lose 10 times the growth and reproduction speed. Waiting any longer is a waste of time. Lin Yi looked at the delicate and lovely Amy and said with a smile, "Miss Amy, want to buy a batch of whitetail fish from me?" Elf Amy nodded and said, "There are not many spirit fish species like silvertails in our Kiati city. If the Lord is willing to sell it, I will tell my sister the good news." "Yes, but it will have to wait until 2 days later." Lin Yi is also happy to do this business. It would be better if the Ella City Lord was willing to package and buy the silvertails he sold, so that he would not have to ask the old housekeeper to make another trip to the forest city. Speaking of old butler Huodine, the old magician is still out hunting. If he knew that he had missed the opportunity to see nature elves and unicorns with his own eyes, he didn't know if he would be so regretful that he would slap his thigh in pain. The old butler Huodine once told Lin Yi that in all his years of living, he had never seen the rumored elves. "I understand, Lord. Elf Amy nodded and said she would definitely come in 2 days. Then, she said goodbye to Lin Yi with a look of reluctance. Under the leadership of a team of eternal tree guards, they left the Golden Oasis with 3 turns. The target she looked back at was naturally not Lin Yi. It is the ancient War Mother tree that exudes the surging life and natural magic power. As long as she can get Lin Yi's permission, she will hug the mother tree tightly without hesitation, and even sleep on the huge leaves of the mother tree. Being able to sleep in the embrace of the mother tree is a very happy thing for the elf. After leaving the Golden Oasis, Elf Amy immediately contacted her sister Ella, who was on her way, and said, "Sister, you will never imagine what I saw in the Golden Oasis." "What did you see? The secret of the fairy spring?" "Of course not," Elf Amy said excitedly. "My dear sister Ella, I saw the legendary ancient War Mother tree, a large number of ancient tree people, and the powerful eternal tree guard." "Amy, that's not a very good joke." On the other side, Ella, who had just entered the Karar Desert, couldn't help but frown her eyebrows like willow leaves when she heard the excited voices coming from the remote communication magic device. Ancient War Mother tree. This naughty sister really knows how to joke with herself. Even the king of their elf kingdom doesn't have an ancient War Mother tree, let alone a small golden oasis. Unless it's a ghost. It's true, my dear sister. The ancient War Mother tree is hundreds of meters high and exudes an extremely pure and rich tree aura. It was it that cultivated the large number of eternal tree guards and ancient tree people. I saw with my own eyes that there were more than 100 eternal tree guards in the Golden Oasis. They are about 30 meters tall, and they are covered in golden heavy armor. Are you sure you're not hallucinating? Ella's tall and mature body trembled slightly. The tall and straight peaks trembled obviously. Of course not. Elf Amy said. The Lord of the Oasis allows me to embrace the breath of the ancient War Mother tree at close range. I will never admit it wrong, let alone have hallucinations. Ella, is there a Lord in the Golden Oasis? Elf Amy. Yes, sister, that is a young and handsome human Lord. He has the loyalty of the ancient tree guards and the eternal tree guards. This is even more impossible. Ella said. The tree people are only loyal to us nature elves. Elf Amy said. But this is a fact, I have seen it with my own eyes. Quote. Ella was silent for a long time. Amy's every word shook her mind and made it difficult to calm down. Divine Maiden, there are tree people who are loyal to humans. This is simply unbelievable. If she had to explain why this happened, she could only make up one reason, that is, this human being was blessed by the elf goddess. Amy, you wait for me at the Golden Oasis, I will be here soon. Ella said quickly. Although I believe you will not lie to me, I also want to see the ancient War Mother tree with my own eyes. Elf Amy said. Sister, I have left the Golden Oasis now. Ella. Why is that? Elf Amy. The Lord did not allow me to stay in his territory for one night. Although this made me very disappointed, I had to choose to leave. Ella was angry. You are really my good sister. Where is your courage in trying to challenge the Dark Dragon Charles alone? Elf Amy's mouth narrowed. My dear sister, if you can get rid of 4 saint rank dragons of the undead type, and there is even a zombie dragon at the peak of saint rank that may have evolved into a dragon king, I will listen to whatever you say from now on. Ella. There was silence for a long time. Ella said, I will return to the forest city now. Come back quickly. I want to know all the information about the Golden Oasis and the human lord. After ending the long-distance communication, Ella flew to the forest city on her unicorn. She needs to wait until the matter is truly investigated before reporting to the Elf Queen. The appearance of the ancient War Mother tree is enough to shock the entire Elf Kingdom. I'm sure even Her Majesty the Queen will have to go to the Golden Oasis in person to see if the ancient tree hundreds of meters high is actually the legendary ancient War Mother tree. This is the Golden Oasis. After seeing off Elf Amy, Lin Yi returned to the backyard of the town hall. I saw him flip his right hand. A huge gem appeared out of thin air. The whole body of the gemstone is golden yellow, exuding dazzling golden light, which is extremely beautiful. Inside the gem, there is a figure of an elf. She closed her eyes and seemed to be sleeping. This gem was exploded when the zombie dragon king killed the dark dragon Charles. It also exploded with a lot of gold coins, which was brought back by the zombie dragon king. Killing monsters has a chance to reveal special items including blueprints, etc. Lin Yi has always known this. However, for such a long time, the armies under his command have only released some drawings on the number of arms and drawings on equipment that are temporarily unused. This is the first time that special items such as gems have appeared. I don't know if it's because I'm particularly lucky this time, or because the Dragon Charles's level is high enough. In addition, this gem is also the reason why Lin Yi asked Elf Amy about Dragon Soul Grass. It is not an ordinary magic gem, but a rare spirit treasure stone. Spirit treasure stone. Type: Dragon Elf. Level: Saint level beginner. Item information. This is a spirit treasure stone that can give birth to a dragon spirit, but to successfully give birth to a dragon spirit, you need to provide it with at least 100 dragon soul grass. Closing square bracket. Absorbed dragon soul grass, none. Special reminder. The more dragon soul grass is absorbed, the higher the level of the dragon elf will be. Closing square bracket. Dragon elves are a type of elves. Rarity better than the rumored elemental elves. Dragon elves are born to control the power of the soul, and can release dragon language magic unique to dragon race. This kind of elves are the treasure of dragon race. As per normal conditions, only in places where a large number of dragon corpses are buried can dragon elves be born. For example, dragon race's dragon tomb. As for why a spirit treasure stone that can directly breed dragon elves was discovered, Lin Yi could only understand it as a gift from the system master. I need to give birth to the dragon spirit as soon as possible. Increase the number of strong men in my territory. Although the ancient trees and eternal tree guards in the territory have extraordinary growth potential. Especially the latter, the growth potential is as high as the demigod level. But potential is just potential. If they want to be promoted to demigods, they can't do it in a short time. This requires killing a large number of monsters. But this dragon elf is different. With the dragon soul grass, it can be conceived directly, and it will be at the beginning of the saint level when it is born. The most important is, the more dragon soul grass is absorbed, the higher the dragon spirit's strength level will become. Therefore, Lin Yi's first priority is to find a large amount of dragon soul grass in Falling Dragon Canyon and sort out the dragon spirit first. The task of exploring Dragon Falling Canyon was handed over by Lin Yi to the zombie dragon king and the nether dragon. The former is a dragon king and is very powerful. The latter is in the form of a ghost, coming and going without a trace. 2 dragons paired together are more than capable of this task. Later, Lin Yi clicked on Task Information. Received the reward for killing the Dark Dragon Charles. Congratulations, Lord, you successfully killed the Dragon Charles. Closing square bracket. You gain the title of Reward Lord, the Little Prince of the Dragon Slaying World. Closing square bracket. The Little Prince of the Dragon Slaying World. Title effect. The combat effectiveness of the units under your command increases by 20%, and the damage caused to dragon race creatures increases by 50%. It ignores the pressure of the dragon and morale is not affected. The hatred value of dragon race creatures towards you strengthen 100%. Closing square bracket. The title can be upgraded. Closing square bracket. Next level. The leader of the dragon slaying world. Upgrade requirements. Kill 50 dragons. Special reminder. With this title, dragon race creatures will regard you as their mortal enemy. You can choose to take the body of the Dragon Charles and a large amount of treasures to the Dragon Island of the Seven Seas, express your most sincere apology to Dragon Race, and then give up this title. Closing square bracket. The Little Prince of the Dragon Slaying World. Lin Yi's mouth twitched. This title is somewhat informal. However, the effect made him very satisfied. The combat effectiveness of territorial troops increases by 20%, and the damage caused to Dragon Race creatures increases by 50%. This effect is called abnormal. Take the Zombie Dragon King for example. With the combat power of the Zombie Dragon King, coupled with these two increases, dealing with the Saint rank Peak Dragon of the same level is basically a matter of holding it in hand, which is a piece of cake. In addition, this title can also be upgraded. After killing 50 dragons, you can upgrade to the leader of the dragon slaying world. This is even more perverted. As for the special reminder in the information column, Lin Yi didn't take it seriously. It is impossible for him to go to the Dragon Island of the Seven Seas to express his most sincere apology to Dragon Race, let alone bring the body of the Dragon Charles and a large amount of treasures, which is even more impossible. Let's not talk about treasures first. The Dragon Charles has already been killed by him. I'm sure Dragon Race will hate him even more if he sees the Charles triplets. Instead of being sent to the door to be beaten, it is better to carry out the title of Little Prince of the Dragon Slaying World, to the end, aim to be the leader of the Dragon Slaying World, and have a hard time with Dragon Race. Maybe there will be unexpected surprises then. The mission of killing the Dragon Charles has been completed. I have 2 tasks left, one main line and one branch line. The side mission is to destroy or conquer the Skaven Kingdom, and you will be rewarded with a random blueprint. This task needs to be completed as soon as possible, lest the Ratman Kingdom get the news of the death of the Dragon Charles, and be so frightened that the whole country flees. After all, there are hundreds of thousands of big black rats, and such a huge amount of experience cannot be let go. For Lin Yi, the Skaven Kingdom is also a copy. And it's an experience copy. If he doesn't clear this copy, he will lose himself. Immediately, Lin Yi issued a war order to the Royal Griffin Knights who were hunting undead creatures, asking them to assemble their teams and fight towards the kingdom of rat men. At the same time, an Eternal Tree Guard was recruited. Lin Yi said to him, "The territory is about to declare war on the Rat Kingdom, and you Eternal Tree Guards are also participating in this war. There is a scout ratman in our territory who was a previous prisoner. Take it with you. It will tell you the locations of the exits of various underground passages in the Skaven Kingdom. Your mission is to guard the exits of those passages and not give the rat people a chance to escape, especially the human magician from the Transcendent Realm. Catch him, or kill him directly. Do you understand?" "Clear," the Eternal Treeman Guard said with great respect. "Lord, don't worry, as long as we are on guard, we will never let go of that human magician, let alone any mouse." "Very good." Lin Yi nodded. "Then let's go." "As you command, Lord." The Eternal Tree Ant Guards exit the town hall. Soon, more than 100 Eternal Tree Guards in the territory gathered and flew towards the direction of the Rat Kingdom. In the hand of one of the Eternal Tree Guards, there was a big black mouse that was hopeless. It had already betrayed the kingdom once before. The secret of the Dragon Passage entrance was revealed. But I didn't expect that was just the beginning. This time it will be a traitor again, helping the enemy to destroy its own kingdom. It wanted to die, but it didn't have the guts. Unwilling to do so, it could only pray secretly. My great majesty Aubrey, it was not my intention to betray the kingdom. If you die, don't come to me for revenge, let alone the Lord, or you will have to die again. During its time as a prisoner, it had clearly understood how powerful the human lord was. Over the Sarin, teams of Royal Griffin Knights gathered one after another. Soon, more than 20,000 Royal Griffin Knights gathered here. Each Royal Knight rides a huge golden griffin and holds a knight's spear several meters long. When the gun light bloomed, it exuded endless fighting spirit. This lineup is simply spectacular to the extreme. It is believed that even the kingdom of Clelia, known as the hometown of Griffins, would find it difficult to gather such a large army of Griffin Knights in a short period of time. Not to mention they are all Golden Griffin Knights. This scene alone is enough to frighten most of the kingdom-level forces in the Holy Continent. Even if the dragon comes, you have to run away with your tail between your legs. Not long after, all the Royal Griffin Knights arrived. The leader is the Ace team with all Transcendent level members. Attack! Give an order. The Royal Griffin Knights flew to the entrance of the passage in a mighty manner. A moment later, a stone gate nearly 100 meters in diameter was completely shattered, revealing a huge underground passage. This giant passage was specially opened by the Skaven Kingdom in order to welcome the Dark Dragon Charles into their kingdom. Now, this passage has become a highway for the Royal Griffin Knights to enter the Ratman Kingdom. If there is no such giant channel, it's really troublesome for Lin Yi to destroy the Ratman Kingdom. Because the Skaven Kingdom is located in the underground world. Other passages are small and narrow, only accessible to Skaven. There is no way the Golden Griffin can pass through due to its huge size. But with this giant passage, it's different. The Royal Griffin Knights can easily enter the Kingdom of Ratman and attack the Yellow Dragon. On the other side, more than 100 Eternal Tree Guards were also scattered into dozens of teams. Each team guards an underground passage exit. Their job is to sit back and wait. Catch as many of the Skaven Kingdom as possible. Underground, the Ratman Kingdom. The sound of sirens and drums resounded throughout the underground space. Looking around, there are densely packed Ratmen gathering, like a black sea tide. Among them, about 1/5 of the Ratmen were fully armed, while the others were dressed in beggar attire and their weapons were all in disgrace. But the key is quantity. In fact, the intelligence given to Lin Yi by the rat captives was inaccurate. It states that the total population of the Skaven Kingdom is approximately several 100,000. But the real situation is that the number of Ratmen is simply hundreds of thousands, but more than 1 million. It's not that it deliberately deceived Lin Yi. It was simply because the Ratman Kingdom had no demographic policy, and the Ratmen reproduced very quickly, so all the babies were born with multiples. Even the Rat King Aubrey didn't know how many people there were in his kingdom, so how could a little scout like him know? It just gave Lin Yi a number it estimated. Of course, it doesn't matter. Even if the intelligence is wrong, it will not change the outcome of the war. On the contrary, it can bring more experience to the Royal Griffin Knights. The enemy is about to invade our kingdom. Brave rat people, pick up the weapons in your hands and fight the enemy to the death. Swear to protect the great Ratman Kingdom to the death. Kill, kill, kill. In the huge underground kingdom, countless Ratmen were roaring and screaming. They responded to the call of Rat King Aubrey and prepared to defend their homeland to the death. Your Majesty, the stone gate of Longdao has been destroyed, and the enemy army has entered. Your Majesty, the enemy's speed is too fast and he is already less than 500 meters away from our base camp. Your Majesty, the 7th defensive station has been destroyed. His Majesty. One message after another reached the Kingdom Hall. Whether it was Rat King Aubrey sitting on the throne or the Rat People's senior officials standing in the main hall, they were all trembling with fear and looking horrified. If it were another enemy, even if the Greyland Dwarf Kingdom next door invades, they will not be so afraid. But the enemy that attacked this time was the famous Golden Griffin Knights of the Holy Continent, and their numbers were terrifying. It was said that they were at least 10,000 in number. Earlier, when those Golden Griffin Knights gathered in the sky above the Saran, the Ratman Kingdom received the news. It was said that there were at least 10,000 legions, and the kingdom's senior officials present couldn't even believe it. Before, there were just over 1,000 Golden Griffin Knights. It increased tenfold in a few days. What an international joke. The development speed of their Rat Kingdom is not so fast. But as information came one after another, they had no choice but to believe it. A senior rat man said with a trembling voice, Your Majesty, the enemies are about to attack the main palace of our kingdom, and they are all terrifying Golden Griffin Knights. What should we do? The hall fell into dead silence. Everyone looked at Rat King Aubrey sitting on the throne. The great Master Charles had fled somewhere, so they could only pin their hopes on His Majesty Aubrey. Rat King Aubrey said with a gloomy expression, Where is the messenger? Go and invite him over. A senior ratman said, Your Majesty, the messenger has disappeared and must have escaped. Human magician. Rat King Aubrey let out a curse. Sure enough, cunning humans can never be trusted. When something goes wrong, he can run faster than a mouse. Aubrey actually wanted to run away. After all, it was a mouse and was instinctively afraid of the golden griffin that dominated the sky. But here is its kingdom, with all its riches, where can it slip away? We must fight to the death. Rat King Aubrey gritted his teeth and said, gather all the rat people in the kingdom and let them enter the battlefield. Even if they are eaten by the golden griffins, they will kill those giant eagles. This war is related to the life and death of our kingdom. No one is allowed to step back. The same goes for you, all go out and join the battle. The senior ratmen in the main hall looked at each other. Some people are frightened. There are also people who are encouraging themselves. Soon, the rat people's senior officials left the palace hall one after another. No matter what they think in their hearts, at least they dare not disobey the orders of Rat King Aubrey. After the top leaders of the kingdom resigned, Rat King Aubrey also recruits his own palace guards. Prepare to go to the front line to preside over the war. The other side, a dark underground treasure house. In the darkness, two sneaky rat men appeared. One big and one small. The big rat men are more than 3 meters tall and fat. The smaller rat man is about 1 meter and 2 meters tall. Brother, do we really want to do this? It's necessary. Haven't you already stolen all the keys? But, brother, we are betraying His Majesty the King and the kingdom. My dear 17th sister, this is not betrayal, this is for the inheritance and continuation of our rat clan. As long as we take the treasures inside and present them to the great lord, we won't have to die. But, it's nothing. Hurry, don't waste time. The rat messenger pushed his sister hard, but found that her sister was too big to be shaken by him, so he could only keep persuading her. Oh well, the 17th princess finally gritted her teeth. Moving his fat and strong body, he opened the door to the treasure house. In an instant, a bright golden light burst out, almost blinding the titanium alloy rat eyes of the rat brother and sister. A lot of gold coins, gems, crystals. Brother, we are rich. Wrong. The Lord is the one who got rich. Take out the space equipment quickly and take all the treasures away. Don't leave even a single gold coin behind. Yeah, okay brother. I don't know how long it took, but the treasure house was completely looted. The rat man brother and sister hurriedly sneaked out again. Unaware of this, the Rat King Aubrey has arrived on the walls of the kingdom. Surrounding it, except for the powerful senior officials of the kingdom, are all well-equipped guards. There are many king-level experts among them, and there are even a few rat warriors from the Transcendent Realm world. Rat King Aubrey has also reached the level of Transcendent. It's not very talented. The level 1 it now depends entirely on food. Magic potions, magic crystals, magic gems, anything that could improve its strength. It took countless amounts, and finally allowed itself to set foot on Transcendent. As for its combat effectiveness, don't mention it. At this moment, Rat King Aubrey and others, as well as the millions of ratmen in the kingdom, all turned their attention to the darkness in the distance, where the giant passage dedicated to the passage of the Dragon Charles was. They're coming. At some point, someone said in a trembling voice. Then, the darkness in the distance was illuminated by a dazzling golden light. As the golden light got closer and closer, Rat King Aubrey and others were finally able to see clearly that there were densely packed golden griffins in the golden light. The golden light emanates from the body of the golden griffin. That's when they release their own magic power, reflecting the brilliance of their golden feathers. In the distance, more than 20,000 huge golden griffins formed a neat legion array, quickly approaching the capital of the Ratman King. That scene, that lineup. Like a well-trained swarm of bees, so dense that it's suffocating. There were even ratmen who were so frightened that they fainted on the spot. Rat King Aubrey, as well as the senior ratmen and guardsmen standing around him, also performed poorly. Everyone was pale and trembling. What are mice afraid of? Afraid of cats, but also afraid of hawks. The golden griffin is the body integration of an eagle and a lion, and is known as the overlord of the sky. More than 20,000 golden griffins were killed at once, and on the back of each golden griffin was a knight armed to the teeth. It's good that they didn't faint with fear. Your Majesty, Your Majesty. The information is wrong. There are not only 10,000 golden griffins, but at least 20,000. The most terrifying thing is that there are an unbelievable number of Golden Griffin Knights at the transcendent level. There are absolutely 100 of them. It is impossible for us to defeat such an enemy. With so many Golden Griffins, even if they eat all our people, they probably won't be able to survive. Rat King Aubrey looked gloomy. Then what do you think we should do? The Rat Man executive said cautiously. Otherwise, we should withdraw as much as we can. As long as we can escape, we will be able to rebuild the kingdom soon. That makes sense. Rat King Aubrey nodded. Immediately, he led the palace guards to withdraw from the city wall, and without looking back he said to the Rat Man senior management, "You will be in charge of the retreat. When the king rebuilds the kingdom, I will make you an earl." Before he finished speaking, the figure of Rat King Aubrey disappeared. Slipping so fast, the Rat Man executive was already dumbfounded. Other high-level rat people and powerful men also looked confused. Just now he said he would fight to the death, but now he turned around and ran away. This change happened so fast. Rat King Aubrey led his palace guards down the city wall. In a blink of an eye, he disappeared into a palace complex. The senior officials of the Ratman Kingdom are also evacuating urgently. The king has run away and the whole country has been ordered to retreat. What are they doing here? Protect the dignity of the rat people and fight to the death with the enemy. Do not make jokes. Rats have no need for dignity. They are just lower intelligent races living at the bottom of the holy continent. But the other Ratmen didn't know that Rat King Aubrey and the kingdom's senior officials had escaped. They had been frightened by the royal griffin knights who were rapidly approaching the kingdom. That overwhelming golden griffin, the terrifying beastly aura emanating from it. It made all the millions of ratmen in the kingdom tremble. Seeing that the densely packed golden griffins were about to approach the city wall, some rat warriors finally couldn't help it anymore. In a state of panic, they launched an attack on the flying golden griffins. First came the scattered arrows. Then came the dense rain of arrows. As if a chain reaction had occurred, countless rat warriors began to attack. Their main means of attack is archery. In an attempt to kill a group of golden griffins, they would lower the morale of the enemy army. However, their attacks are doomed to be in vain. Arrows rained down from the sky into the Royal Griffin Knights' camp, but they couldn't even break through the most basic legion's aura defense. The bright golden light that enveloped the Royal Griffin Knights Legion was generated by magic power. It has a certain defensive power and is far from indestructible, but it is easy to withstand the arrow rain attack of the rat men. The golden light is like a thin energy shield. The moment it hit the golden light, countless arrows were bounced away. There were even a large number of arrows that were broken into several pieces. An attack of this level cannot threaten the Royal Griffin Knights at all, not even scratching the itch. Just because the gap in war strength between the two sides is too big. Attack. With the war order issued by the Ace team, more than 20,000 Royal Griffin Knights quickly broke into pieces and poured into the capital of the Ratman Kingdom from all directions like a spreading swarm. Bang 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 bang. Suddenly, a series of explosions suddenly sounded. That was an attack from the Royal Griffin Knight. I saw the knights waving their several-meter-long knight spears in their hands, stabbing or slashing, and then a 100-meter-long spear light flew out, instantly destroying countless arrow towers and fortresses standing inside and outside the city wall. It can't be stopped at all. A casual strike from the knights can destroy the defensive structures built by the Skaven Kingdom. It's as easy as cutting tofu. The reason why the knights can release such terrifying spear light also depends on the support of their riding pets, the golden griffins. Magic power can be shared between knights and riding pets. With the help of the huge great demon power in the body of the golden griffin, the power of the combat skills released by the royal knights can also be greatly enhanced, which is also one of the advantages of the knights. If the riding pet were replaced by a giant dragon, it would be even more terrifying. To put it a bit exaggeratedly, even an ordinary professional can explode into saint rank level combat power if he can become the knight of a saint rank dragon. Why is the black-robed magician eager to sign a contract with the dark dragon Charles? It's because he wants to become a dragon magician. With the help of the power of the dark dragon Charles, a transcendent level great demon mage can also unleash the terrifying magic of the saint rank. It only takes a moment. Countless arrow towers and fortresses built by the Ratman Kingdom were all destroyed by the Royal Griffin Knights. The knights did not continue to attack the city wall because it was completely unnecessary. Some powerful forces will build large-scale magic defense shields to protect their base camps, but the Skaven kingdom does not have such financial resources and technology. Therefore, the Royal Griffin Knights can march in. Enter the royal capital from high altitude. What city walls, moats. It was completely a decoration in front of the Royal Griffin Knights. After taking care of those arrow towers and fortresses, the entire Skaven kingdom was at the mercy of the royal knights. Choo choo choo. In the sky above the royal capital, densely packed golden griffins made a harsh scream. They spread their huge golden eagle wings, and when they flapped fiercely, countless feathers shot like arrows towards the rat army below. These feathered arrows are of course not real feathers. Rather, it is formed by condensation of elemental magic power. Its coverage range reaches tens of meters to more than 100 meters. If just one golden griffin launched such an attack, it would be nothing, but when more than 20,000 golden griffins attack together, the scene will be very terrifying. Countless magic golden feathers fell like heavy rain, almost covering most of the rat kingdom. In an instant, countless houses and buildings were shattered, and countless rat men were pierced by magic golden feathers. In an instant, half of the Skaven kingdom was reduced to ruins. Countless rat men were killed instantly. Blood dyes the earth red. Looking around, there were rat man corpses everywhere. With just one move, the army of 1 million ratmen assembled by Rat King Aubrey collapsed. Those rat men who were lucky enough to survive the magic golden feathers were also frightened and fled in panic. This is the result of the complete asymmetry of war power. If they were equal in strength, the range attacks of the golden griffins would not have such a shocking effect, and could only kill some small kalami at most. To fight an enemy of the same level, you have to use real guns and live ammunition. Unfortunately, the power of the Ratman kingdom is too weak. Especially those rat men dressed as beggars, who are no different from ordinary sand people. How can they withstand the covering magic feathers of the golden griffins? Only some elite ratmen managed to survive. Of course, this does not mean that they dare to continue fighting. At this moment, all the rat people in the entire kingdom were scared to death and were all running away. Some fled towards the palace hall. Some fled outside the city. Some even dig holes directly in place. At the same time, the Royal Griffin Knights also swooped down from high altitude. They were scattered in various areas of the Skaven kingdom and began to eliminate the fleeing Skaven in an orderly manner. The other side. Little did Rat King Aubrey know that his army of millions of Skaven had been routed. It was protected by the palace guards to its underground cave treasure house. Before the door opened, it suddenly felt a thump in its heart. Wipe. The key is missing. It didn't have time to go back to the palace to get the key, so it decisively ordered the palace guards to force the door of the treasure house open. As the door opens, Rat King Aubrey was dumbfounded again. At first glance, I saw an empty area in the huge cave treasure house. It was as clean as if it had been robbed by rats. Its treasures, as well as the treasures stored by the rat kings of all generations, all disappeared. Who stole my king's treasure? So black-hearted. It would be nice to leave a few gold coins for me. Rat King Aubrey was so angry that he fainted on the spot. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.